I knew from before show one, I said, if we execute this concept, 7 hours, commercial-free football, we can go anywhere in the NFL universe anytime we feel like it. I said, if we execute this well, this is going to be the most popular football show on television. I came on the first on-camera time I ever came on, the first episode, September 2009. I said, welcome to NFL RedZone, the channel that we hope will change the way you watch football forever.
Welcome to Games with Names. I'm Julian Edelman. They're Jack and Kyler, and we're on a mission to find the greatest game of all time. On today's episode, we are covering Week 7 of the 2020 season with NFL RedZone host Scott Hanson. We all know his voice. We've all seen his voice. Can you see a voice? We get into talking what makes the perfect witching hour.
Chaos. Stuff that just shouldn't happen. I mean, fourth quarter keisters get tight, man, in the fourth quarter sometimes.
The origin of the Octobox.
I want you to feel how big it is. We have 8 games of the most highly skilled, trained athletes on the planet are going at it simultaneously, and it's all going to lead to wins and losses at 3 hours from now.
Big.
Like, it's big.
And pretty much everything that goes on behind the scenes of the NFL RedZone.
You know, we had a fire alarm a couple years. I don't leave. Dude, a soldier does not leave his post.
You can't. He's a foxhole guy.
Foxhole.
And then we wrap it up with the very special Jameson Irish whiskey toast. So you gotta stick around till the very end. Let's go. Games with Names is a production of iHeartRadio. October 25th, 2020. Sunday afternoon. NFL RedZone.
When wins become losses and losses become wins.
You know what time it is.
This is the greatest witching hour of all time, the GWOAT. I have watched this show so many times, I really wondered what it would be like to sit here. And I didn't know you'd be wearing shorts because I did want to see what my calf muscles look like next to yours. But
look at that.
I gotta flex them. That's why I wore dark pants with dark socks so that we can put those away right there. You still got them calves on. You run these hills around here.
Honestly, I've had big calves since I was a little kid.
Really?
Yeah, I was a calf kid.
Does everyone make comments on them when they come on?
No.
Well, okay.
No.
I don't mean to be. Did I make it weird?
No. But there's a thing. People that know football and speed,
yeah,
they know that the big calf shows that you're not a burner.
Traditionally not.
You're a change of direction guy.
And you could stick them in the ground
and
better
go.
than anybody in
As
your
Dion
generation.
say, you ain't seen no calves on a racehorse, right? You know,
Yes.
I bet you know all the lines.
Oh yeah. Dion's other one is he used to never come out and stretch before a game.
Yeah.
He said, you ain't never seen a cheetah stretch on the savannah. He's like, cheetah wakes up ready to run.
I know. The toe took him down.
The toe took him down.
The toe took him. That's like the worst.
It's bad too. Have you seen how much he's had to have? He's
got 8 toes now.
Yeah.
Did you see him and Ocho arguing? That was fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Did you buy this place during your playing days or after?
I bought this 18 months ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
With the idea of setting up this type of stuff, or did you have a place out here somewhere?
No, I never had a place here. My daughter lived out here, and I would come in the off season and I'd rent a place.
Okay.
But I was mostly in Boston.
Really?
Yeah.
You still keep a place there?
I still have my place there, and that's how we get a lot of the Patriots. We'll get all the people over there.
Oh, really? Because I was thinking you flew like some of those guys.
We flew Ernie Adams.
I saw Ernie.
Ernie's the only one.
Which, that's an exclusive interview right there.
Yeah, Ernie.
He doesn't say much to anybody.
No, but...
Or he used to not, at least.
Never has.
Yeah.
Even, like when our teammates saw that show, they were amazed because Ernie was very quiet, but I was there for so long, I would see him in the cafeteria doing the same thing he did every single day, eating that damn tomato, and I go create conversation because I was a jokester a little bit.
Sure.
So, and then me and Ernie and he would give me nuggets.
Yeah.
Like on punters or on certain DBs. And so, like, we always had a thing because people were intimidated to talk to him, A, for one, and B, he didn't put it out there that he wanted to be talked to, or he didn't give that vibe, but he's not like that. He's just socially awkward.
There's probably that too, but in my world, like there was like a mystical mist about him for the longest time. And well, your interview helped to lift that veil. I mean, he's in the later years of his life, career, whatever else, but there was always this, there's this guy there at the Patriots.
He's the original
nobody
analytic
really knows. Yeah, nobody really knows like him outside of the building, apparently, but Bill trusts him implicitly. And they credit him with a lot of positive things that come out of that building and out of that program.
To put it in perspective, I would say 85 to 90% of the people inside the building didn't know what he did.
Wow.
You had to be in a group to, like, certain guys, like, knew, but, like, the younger players or when you're a new player, they're like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and that's how it was. But then all of a sudden, you'd talk to him, you know everything about every damn team and every rule.
That's good.
All right, let's get this
started.
started.
I got to go closer, guys? Or
No.
am I
6
okay?
inches, you can move it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I do project across a room, Julian.
Oh, I
as
know.
you
You're a pro. This is your game. I'm waiting to see it. Welcome to Games with Names with Scott Hanson. Today we are looking at Week 7 of the 2020 NFL season witching hour. In one sentence, why did you pick this week, Scott?
COVID meets crazy finishes. Remember 2020, the COVID year, so you're going to, like, if you look at the video, you'll see, like, just dots of fans in the stands, in the stadiums that were allowed to have fans. And I got to ask you what it was like to play in that atmosphere.
Awful.
Foxborough was completely
Empty.
shut down, right?
Empty. Done.
Certain stadiums in certain states were allowed 10% capacity, 20% capacity, whatever. But there was that. And this one particular witching hour, we had 10 lead changes in 4 different games in the span of, well, less than 60 minutes during the witching hour. And then, by the way, can I put you on the record? You are a Red Zone viewer and a Red Zone fan yourself.
What are you talking about?
I love the shirt.
What are you talking about? Me?
I have said...
No, not me.
I've said for years, Julian Edelman is the best dressed man in the entire NFL.
Whoa.
And you didn't let me down with the T-shirt.
Coming from a hairline and a man that can hold himself for 18 hours to call the game I love, I might as well die and go to heaven.
I hope I do you proud. I know I did you proud during your playing days, because did you know that you came into the NFL the same year NFL RedZone came into existence?
You know what?
2009.
After we did the research, I kind of knew that, but I didn't know it until we started doing that.
Yeah.
And I was explaining to Kyler and Jack that I really didn't watch RedZone until I retired.
Okay.
Like, you watched it.
You had heard about it, but you
heard about it.
But if you were playing on Monday Night Football, what would you do on Sunday?
Sunday, we had walkthroughs, we had team meetings. Sure. You'd be in the room, you'd usually be in like a training room, depending if you're on the road or at home.
Okay.
And you'd be getting treatment, and they would have the game on, and they'd have the RedZone, and you'd watch that was kind of like where I first started seeing it, but I didn't really know what it was.
Yeah.
And then I started doing fantasy like closer to the end.
You got to.
And I was like, I got to get on this RedZone. And then
your
it was
boy,
life.
TB12, Tom Brady,
loves it.
Told me for years when he was playing, and now of course in retirement, that he loves RedZone. He's a junkie.
When I first started really watching it, that's when my appreciation and I understood what the infatuation of the RedZone was.
Yeah.
Because I really wasn't in it. Like, when I was playing, you'd see it on, and it'd be cool to see the highlights. You see guys that would get the touchdowns. You'd see certain situations that we harp on all day, third down, red area.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't until I had my own fantasy squad. I'm sitting there, and you're glued to your phone, and then you get instant highlight with your commentary. I was like, man, this guy's a fucking stud. A.
Wow.
B, this is a crazy concept.
Yeah. Those dopamine hits you get from when your fantasy running back pops in on 4th and goal from the 1.
Yeah.
Or conversely, if you get vultured a touchdown, one of your guys should be scoring a touchdown and goes to the backup fullback or something.
Yeah.
There is nothing like that, and that's what we deliver. People call me Touchdown Santa Claus.
Touchdown Santa Claus.
Right, baby. Just here distributing.
You get a touchdown. I call you Oprah. Touchdown Oprah.
Touchdown Oprah. Trademark 2024, Julian Edelman.
Is this the greatest week of all time that we're about to discuss?
Well, I come bearing gifts.
What, you come bearing gifts. What is this guy?
As soon as we decided,
Santa?
As soon as we decided that we were going to revisit this, I went back in my notes. Like you guys might go back in in your
Game
playbook
plan.
or your wristband or whatever. I went back and I printed out a set. These were my NFL RedZone Week 7, 2020, October 25th, 2020. My notes going into the game.
Wow.
Those are my generic notes. Then my process, Julian, is I go through every game and I pair all of my best stats, facts, figures, quotes, injury updates. Every game gets one sheet. That's the early window. This is the late window. You all Patriots played in the late window, but we're gonna talk about the early window, the fantastic finishes in this early window. But go to this sheet right here.
Okay,
Go to this one.
All right,
and I don't know if maybe I'll give this, and the cameras can edit this in afterwards. This is the cover sheet here. My master sheet that gives me the entire lineup of games. I don't know if hold up to that.
Year 3.
Okay. My entire lineup of games.
Lineups.
I put a little line item through to say I've got 7 in the early window. I've got 4 in the late window. All the kickoffs, the location, the team records coming in.
Didn't get the line.
And
when.
You got to do your own lines. If
Okay,
you're,
all right.
you
I'm just
know.
making sure.
Wait, let me rephrase that.
Sounds like Friday night.
Got to do our own lines.
Yeah. So 7 early, 4 late, and I prepare every game as if it's going to be the craziest game of the day. And then that way, whenever it ends up happening, whatever game does go crazy or whatever 4 games go crazy, I'm loaded and I'm ready to bring it to you guys.
You know what? And
What's up?
This preparation, it's kind of like it's like a game day NFL prep.
Kind of.
You know, and then as I transitioned into doing TV, I kind of have a similar approach to it where I'll go over our matchups for Fox that
Right.
week. And then I'll go over with a group and we'll sit and we'll talk over each game and I'll watch that game or a highlight or a condensed version of that game. And then I'll give off I'll send voice memos to a group of us and I'll just go bad block on this, good, great play, awesome this. And then we'll go in and we'll look at everything. And you do all this preparation for when you get onto TV. You don't use any of it, but you feed your subconscious with the knowledge
100%.
that you can drop at a second.
Can I give you an analogy to this?
Yeah, I love an analogy.
Okay,
I
go back
love
to
an
your
analogy.
college days. You had that one class where the professor, it's the end of the semester, and he or she says, okay, this is like Monday. The final exam is on Friday.
Okay.
It's an essay exam.
Ooh.
Here are 10 essay questions which represent everything that we've studied this semester.
Yeah.
3 of them are going to be on the final exam.
Wow.
Which do you study?
Anxiety right now. Just thinking about being in a classroom.
You probably stood up at that point and said, Professor, I'm going to the league.
No,
I don't need to. I don't.
At that point, I was like, I'm about to be a fireman. Until I had to study to be a goddamn.
Well, anyways, the point being, if
know.
you're a diligent student, you study everything.
Yeah.
And that way, another analogy, your tool belt is full. If it ends up, if you need to use a hammer, a wrench, a screwdriver, the pliers, whatever, you're ready for it. And so
Allen
I
wrench?
study every one of these games like it's going to be the absolute biggest game. And then if it's 35-0 blowout, didn't say anything about that game.
That's how it goes. But
Yeah.
that's the thing about preparation in anything. And
Yep.
when you watch someone, like you don't just get up and spit the red zone out. You put so much time and effort in before that 7-hour day of performance. Just like when we would prepare for a week's game, you put in so much. We practice these situations that a lot of us would get mad at, as players, but the coaches would put us in these situations and like, we never seen this. We haven't seen this for six years, this specific situation, free kick after a fair catch on a
Right.
time thing before.
Right?
But the one time it happens,
Yes.
we were always prepared for it. Just like you're saying with your.
We've got an example in week 7, 2020.
Oh.
Do you want me to give you the specifics here?
Let's hear it.
So Lions at Falcons. Lions came in at 2-3. Falcons came in at 1-5, right? 2 sub 500 records. You think this is not going to be, whatever. There's great players in the game. You got Stafford was still there, and then Matt Ryan. So you got two guys who can pitch it around.
Danny Amendola was on the team.
Shout out Dola.
There you go.
Dancing with the Stars.
There you go. So it comes down to the wire. The Lions have a 1-point lead. Okay, now this is all situational. Belichick would geek out on this. The Lions have a 1-point lead. The Falcons have the ball. The Falcons are driving, and it's in the final minute or 2 minutes of the game. The Lions are out of timeouts, so the Falcons need any type of a score to win the game. They get into the red zone. What are the Lions going to want to do at this point?
Let them score.
Let them score a touchdown.
Yeah.
Okay? So you got to call in the huddle if you're the Atlanta Falcons. We want to drain this thing down to 3 seconds, call our last timeout, and kick the game-winning field goal. We do not need a touchdown.
Todd Gurley.
And Todd Gurley, who had various...
He tried.
Yeah, well, but...
He just didn't execute.
He burst through the line, and he wanted to go down at the 1 yard line, but you can't... He's a 4-4 guy at his best. He burst through the line, and of course they let him, and he burst through because they let him. He went in from the 10-yard line down to the 1, and he tried to stop, and he must have crossed the goal line by that much with the football.
Yeah.
So what is the call in the huddle? What did you guys use in the huddle when it was, I've heard some teams use no mas. No mas, no more. We do not want to score a touchdown.
It was a Rolex situation for us.
Meaning?
Meaning time was more important than points.
Okay. But there wasn't a specific call to say, do not score a touchdown.
Yeah, it's called Rolex.
Oh, okay. That's
Rolex.
the only thing. Okay.
Time. Rolex.
Okay.
Rolex. Do not score. Time is more important than points. So, you would go down. And we would have had that call in our... I would say 90% of the guys in the huddle would know what to do. Probably even more. And everyone probably would have known.
Yeah.
But it would have been reiterated by the quarterback, who probably got a reminder from the offensive coordinator. So there's a lot of teamwork that goes into that. Todd tried to do it. He just didn't execute.
No, and the funny thing was, earlier in his career when he was with the Rams,
he went and he scored.
He did a different one where he went out of bounds, but he went out of bounds too early.
Yes.
They weren't in Rolex situation at that time.
That's 4 minute.
Yes.
That's 4 minute.
And
offense.
he was overthinking
That's
it at that point.
Yeah.
And
I think it was Rolex.
I love Gurley as a player. Yeah, well, it better be, because someone's going to call you and say, you're going to be like, you don't remember the calls, Edelman. Did you ever practice that? You were obviously a wide receiver, but you were a ball carrier at different times, and you become a ball carrier catching a pass, even though if it's Rolex, the running back's probably the only one who's handling the ball.
Yeah,
Did you ever practice stopping your momentum at the 2 yard line, 3 yard line?
We probably wouldn't even have put that player in that situation.
Okay.
As the play caller.
Okay.
We probably would have just said right, tight, quarterback, center the ball. And we all know that Brady wasn't a threat to burst into the secondary and into the end zone. So. No, he was. But
Tom, I love you. You know I love you. But speed wasn't his game.
No, but he was actually he's probably the greatest quarterback sneak
quarterback of all time. I am 100% with you.
And he's got over 1,000 yards in rushing. And he lets us know that. 1,000.
Speaking of
50
which,
years.
If you would care to peruse your notes.
We got notes.
Let's go to the late window. So the top page is Buccaneers Raiders.
Okay, Raiders.
So again, this is like macro NFL notes. This is early window packet.
Early window.
This is late window. We had 4 games in the late window. Buccaneers Raiders. That was a John Gruden revenge game. We had Chiefs Broncos in the AFC West. A Drew Lock game. Then there's this little game, the 49ers at the Patriots.
Yeah, both Patriots.
My first note there. Would you read that to the fans?
Jimmy Garoppolo returns to New England.
Yes, he was a second-round draft pick in 2014. He returns to New England, and then Bill Belichick. I got a note on him there. Do you like that note?
Yeah, 7-1 with a plus 122 point differential against QBs that were drafted by or started at least one game.
In other words, Belichick used to destroy people, quarterbacks who were in his program, left his program, and then came back and played against the Patriots.
Who was that, like a Testaverde?
Drew Bledsoe.
Bledsoe
was the one guy who beat him. His record was 7-1 with a big, huge point differential.
That first year after he left on opening day. It was
Because
early
it
in the
was
season.
Bills. It was
because
obviously-
I think we cut Lawyer Malloy too. So it was Lawyer.
This is before
and
you were on the
Blood-
team. You remember
Yeah.
the history.
But we go over the situation.
You got it. You're smart.
But that's true.
Would you care to go down to the bottom line on my New England Patriots? And again, I did not doctor this for today.
Shit.
I had a Julian Edelman note.
Edelman needs 144 yards for 10,000 career all-purpose yards.
Did you have any idea that
Had
was
no
the
clue.
case? You needed, going into this game, you needed 144 yards of any type for 10,000 all-purpose career. Dude, everyone knows you were a monster.
Didn't get it.
One catch, 13
Yeah,
yards.
you did get it. We don't want to probably bring up what actually happened.
That was my last game right
That
there.
was your last game in the NFL.
Yeah, my last catch against the Niners, my
hometown
childhood
Niners.
team.
Dude, I'm so sorry to bring that
It
up.
was all good. It was all good. It was a shitty year. But it was cool to
Cam Newton was quarterback in the Patriots at that
Nah, it
point.
was
It'll
more.
give the
I'm talking
No,
personally.
I'm not saying
Yeah.
saying he was responsible for it. I'm just giving the fans a recollection
Yeah,
of what
Cam
that
was
Patriots
there.
team
It
looked
was
like.
COVID year.
Yep.
You're getting tested 3 times, 5 times a week for COVID. It was so hard to interact with your teammates in the locker room. It was completely different than what you were accustomed to of having community and being able to talk and make fun of guys. Like, it was football at that point. Like, that was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. I had said, I got to get out of this. I got to get out of this.
Well, I will say this. You can credit the NFL. People criticize the NFL for a number of things. You can credit the NFL. The NFL was the only sport on the planet that did not miss one game during the COVID year of 2020. Not
without
one.
a doubt. I'm not saying when you look back that it was freaking awesome. I'm just saying, as a 12-year vet, that
Now,
you
that's
know,
not
like,
the way you want your
it just was
life
tough
and
for the
career to go down.
players. You know what I mean?
How
Looking
often
back,
do you get the swab up the nose? Every day?
every day?
Every day. Practice. Wednesday, you're getting
Even when
You're
you had
getting your
off day,
brain
you had to
poked.
go get tested and then come back because you had to protect the ecosystem. When you look back on it, NFL killed it. NFL and UFC, those are the two sports that you look that, like, during the whole
they
whole time
navigated those waters.
they navigated through. During the thing, though, when you're a player and you bitch about
had to be
everything,
terrible.
you're like, this fucking sucks.
Yeah.
But looking back on it, you're like, man, that was pretty cool.
I got to say, us from the fan perspective, we needed that. We needed that.
Oh,
back
without a
then.
doubt.
Oh, my God.
Oh.
That was our lifeline.
When I came on the air, because you remember March Madness completely canceled.
Yep.
Canceled.
NBA would end up going into the bubble the next year, but they were shut down. The hockey wasn't going to start. Everything was shut down. You came off of a summer, which is already dry, sports terrain. When I came on the air for that first Red Zone, and I remember I had to say, everyone's passed their COVID test. I used to announce at the beginning of Red Zone, if any
got to,
player failed his COVID test an hour before kickoff and would get shut down. When I came on, like, you just felt the weight of our country. We needed that
Without a doubt.
to come back. And of course, then that was after the summer of George Floyd too. So
Yeah.
we needed something to bring us together, and NFL football does it unlike just about anything else.
Amen.
We also had like afternoon Wednesday games too, which was kind of awesome.
Dude,
Well, look at the notes. Look at the notes, Julian. Look
we
at the
went-
notes.
we
There.
went-
Go back to the main page. I've got written down here 2 games. Usually on the top page here
have been rescheduled.
Yeah, we usually just say how many division games there are, how many games between teams with winning records, right? The games to highlight.
Yeah.
Here we go. 2
Steelers.
games have been rescheduled to week 7. The Steelers at Titans was supposed to be played in week 4, and it got, remember how the games were going to Tuesdays, and you said Wednesdays and everything. We had 2 games that were rescheduled. We also had a team that had their bye week. The Dolphins that year got their bye week smashed over to week 7 because they had it was just bananas, but we ended up playing football.
Without a doubt. We went and played. They canceled they postponed our game like 2 days. We played, I think, on
Chiefs
the Tuesday,
game.
the Chiefs game.
Yeah.
Supposed to be a Sunday night game or Sunday football. We played on Tuesday. We flew out same day and played off flight. And I was coming out with swollen knees and stuff. I'm sitting here pumping this thing, trying to get it. Like, that's what I remember from that year. And, it was great looking back for not just our fans, but just for everyone to have some kind of something to look forward
Yep.
to that during that time
Yep.
of the, what was going on. But it was tough.
Well, hopefully,
it was a tough
hopefully never
situation.
again. Hopefully, never again.
Never again. What do you think? What do you think about what's going on right now in the NFL season?
Hold on, before we do this, Scott has a little bit of a surprise for you.
Oh,
What?
yeah.
We'll be right back after this quick break. Jameson would like to welcome you aboard this flight to Dublin and to invite you to join their unofficial call to bring pro football to Ireland. Stow away foam fingers in the overhead compartments, and a bar cart stocked with Jameson's finest whiskey will be making its way down the aisle after takeoff, because only Jameson would try to bring football to a whole new country. Join the Jameson Huddle at jamesonsports.com.
A couple things. So, Julian, I sat down here and you said, nice to meet you. You and I have met before. In fact, you and I, Julian, have played football together on the same team.
Oh,
On your
yeah,
screen.
best buddies.
Can you? Oh, you recognize this?
Yeah.
So for those who don't
Best
know,
buddies.
Tom Brady has been involved with a charity for years. I think he maybe still is, but certainly this was June 1st, 2012. You were a young pup. Hadn't had your first 100-catch season yet, even.
Not yet.
No, you had not. The next year was your first. I'm not saying it's because you played with the Hanson brothers, but
Boom bop, baby.
you exploded after playing a charity flag football game. So basically, it works like this for those who don't know. Brady would, with Best Buddies, a great charity in the
Awesome.
Boston area. Give it a Google. It's fantastic. With Best Buddies, he would donate his time and bring in some of his celebrity friends, some of his football friends and teammates, and then some big money donors who would pay money to Best Buddies, and you would get to play in a charity flag football game with Tom Brady as all-time quarterback.
Yeah.
At Harvard Stadium, right there in Boston. And so when you showed up, so my brother, former executive over at Fidelity Investments, yours truly, the RedZone host, you show up and you decide you get to see which quarter you're playing in, because there were so many people that wanted to be in it. You would just play for one quarter. And look who we were paired with there, right at the top of the board, young Julian Edelman, future Super Bowl MVP. And little did we know that the Hanson brothers and Julian Edelman would combine to make some magic.
Let's go.
Do you remember that game, or did you play in one? You play in a couple of
I
those?
played in 10.
You did not.
I was with
Every
Best
year.
Buddies for 10 years.
God bless.
So it was a fun organization to work with.
And one other thing about Best Buddies, because they did it right. They
Yeah.
had,
Well,
they
there was the
rolled up-
bike-a-thon. So I rode in the bike. I rode the rides as well.
You won it.
I won one year.
Did you really?
The 30. It was only a 30 mile
Okay.
because we were in OTAs. They didn't want to swamp the legs.
I bet.
Had to go win that thing, show those people what was up.
Jules Armstrong.
And then there would always be
That's when those Cavs came in.
That's right.
then there would always be at the Kennedy compound the clam bake, and there would always be the raffle there, and that was it was just a really cool event that did great things for
Yes.
a great group of people.
Like I said, give it a Google, Best Buddies.
Best Buddies,
Absolutely
check it out.
worthwhile. Speaking of the clam bake, so they would take it out to the Kennedy compound. The Kennedy family developed Best Buddies.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Shrivers and Kennedys.
Yes, exactly. You have the Shrivers and Kennedys. And so they would have this amazing thing for all those who participated, donated, and whatnot. They would build that huge tent, think like a huge wedding, out on a grass lawn, and
Wedding
top shelf
crashers.
food and drink. Wedding crashers.
It's basically
total wedding crashers.
Go look at the richest East Coast kind of thing you've ever seen in your life. That's really what it was.
So
It was
your boy TB12 was, the face of it. And Tom would get up at one point during, after the beverages had been flowing, Tom would get up and the MC would announce, Tom has got a bag of footballs here, and he's going to autograph a football with a Sharpie. And if you raise your hand and you want a football, you're pledging $500 to Best Buddies. So he had this huge bag of football. Remember when he would do this? So he would autograph a football, and he would, someone would raise their hand and he would just pitch it. And he was going like this, 5 feet away, 10 feet away, whatever. Well, at one point, the crowd's a little saucy. The crowd starts yelling, throw it deep. And you got like women in sundresses walking around, and it's kind of tight quarters. And Brady starts spinning the football in his hand, and he's looking. I'd like to play you a little bit of video and see if you might grade what happened at the moment.
Let's see.
That this. Throw it deep.
All right, we got a deep.
He's blinded by the lights. Boom. Back of the room.
Who'd he hit?
Let's see if he comes closer to the camera. The crowd's going nuts.
Scott, did you get smoked?
No, I caught it, dude. That's me. Look
I
at
thought I saw it in the
There's
hand.
the autographed
Go
football.
back. Go back.
Roll it back.
Go
I
back.
need to be graded.
Go back.
From the man who caught more passes from
Right
Tom
there.
Brady than just about anybody on the planet, I need you to grade my hands here.
Let me see.
My heart was pumping, kid.
All right.
I'm telling you.
Let me get it. All right. Kind of a wobble. Whoa! One-hander? Do you have a drink in your hand? No.
No. I may
that
have.
was-
I don't know.
You know what? With the light changes, I know catching a ball indoors can be a little weird sometimes. I have to give it that's a 7.9 out of 10.
I will clip this video and send it to
That's
my
a B
phone
minus
right now.
That's good. And if you ever heard me grade a burger or something, 7.9 is like I'll go back all day long. So like that's like he'll go back to you for 7.9.
That made my visit here for you just to give me a prop. I mean, look at I'm proud of it.
I didn't remember that we did all the best buddies and stuff until I saw that right there.
Those were good days.
100%.
Fun.
Those were so fun. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Man, he comes. Look how prepared.
So you and I, we come full circle. You came into the league the year NFL RedZone came into the league.
Yeah.
We met together and played football. Yeah. I probably had more catches in the second quarter than you did, I'm thinking.
I don't know. I hit some bombs on that thing.
Dude, I had a drop.
Oh, I think I remember that too.
I had a drop. It was the most beautiful
the crowd
pass.
when the crowd kind of
it was I got mesmerized, dude. I speak in front of millions of people on television. When freaking Tom Brady is throwing you a ball 15 yards downfield, and it's and I played college football, the most brilliant spiral you've ever seen, and you're like, this is the greatest quarterback of all. Thunk, right through my hands.
Oh.
Hit me right here in stride. So I'm like, I felt this big. I ended up catching a 2-point conversion later in the quarter or whatnot. So I'm like, okay, the next year I come back to playing it. And, Tom's running for mayor there, so everyone's coming up to him. I go up to him, hey, Tom, great to be back another year. He's like, you going to catch every pass I throw you this time? He 100% remembered that some slappy dropped the pass. He threw 400 passes in that charity flag football game. He 100% remembered that I dropped the pass.
Scott, young receiver dropping a ball. I've seen guys get shipped out for that.
I was probably blessed to be invited back.
Out, but hey, you were back, guy. He saw something. He saw fighting you
because
he saw
this, the clam bake.
The clam bake in front of the people, in the people. When the lights were shining its brightest, Scott, you caught that damn ball for charity and for the kids.
Yes, $500 well spent. So
it was awesome, man. That was.
Did you? That's what I had the surprise for. I didn't want. I told your guys that.
Yeah, no, that was fun
for you, but I didn't. Yeah,
those were such great times. Tom.
What did you think about your career at that time? Because again, if you go back and look at your stats, you started probably. You had played 3 seasons to that point. And
was that 2012?
That was 2012. So the next year, you went 100 catches and 1,000 yards.
Actually, I was playing behind Welker for like 3 years.
Yes.
And anytime he got hurt, I balled out. So I was confident. Yeah. And then that 2012, beginning of that season, I actually beat him out.
Yeah.
I beat him out, and I played the first 2 games, and everyone in New England was going crazy. Like, why isn't Welker in? Why are you playing this Edelman kid? And then I broke my hand against Baltimore. Mm-hmm. And then I was out for 2 weeks, and then I came back, and then I scored 2 touchdowns in that Colts game. Then I scored 2 touchdowns in that New York Thanksgiving game. I balled out the butt fumble game. I had a deep one, and I had that one off of special teams off the kickoff where Devin McCourty hit McKnight.
Okay.
And I caught it out of the air and ran it on a kickoff back.
Yep.
And then I was balling out, so I had 3 really good games in a row, and then I broke my foot, and then I was out for the season. So then at that point, I was thinking like,
we knew who you were. it just, you weren't looked
I
at
was
yet
knocking
as a
at the
star.
door, but
Yeah.
as with Welker there, it would never have worked because the trust that Tom had in Welker, and he was his guy at that time. Like, it was hard to get through that until he had to. And then once Welker left, he had to, and then that's when we grew.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So
during your prime years, I see every touchdown in the NFL,
yeah.
right? I see every touchdown. During your prime years, I don't know what you guys call it, like a stick route where you would, at the goal line, let's say 9-yard line and in.
Yeah.
When you would line up wide left, I think you did it from the right side too. You'd wind single wide receiver to the left, and you would stick your corner in and then jab it back out. And Tom, the most accurate passer anyone's ever seen, it was as automatic of touchdown if that play was called as almost any play, like Priest Holmes. If you remember Priest Holmes inside the 5-yard line, they used to do that toss pitch. Will Shields and the Hall of Fame lineman that they had blocking out front. It was an automatic touchdown. That play was an automatic touchdown. It felt like
we had a lot of execution on that. There was a lot of good times. That was
what would you guys call that? You know which play I'm talking about.
Yeah,
you would push your guy in 2 yards hard, make him break in, and you would put your foot in the ground, and you had 2 yards of separation when there was only 1 yard there.
I think that was like Army personnel would put me at the X, so I'd be on the backside X, and it'd be X returns or spin X return. So the front side, you'd have a deep in cut on the end line.
He loved that play too. Back of the end zone, he would throw that touchdown to the tall wide receiver.
You see it in everyone runs it. So your single guy runs the return route, and then you have spin, which you have a crosser over here. So you're high-lowing over here for that spin. If that corner comes off or something comes off there, then he's going to hit to his backside in cut. So that's like a lot of teams run it. They doll it up different ways, but the red area is crazy. If you really think about it, it's the same high lows in all the different spots with different routes running them. So you always have something low, you have something high, you have something, you know what I mean? So
but it's condensed, so the 11 on defense.
But the way
you
get to it is different, and that was one of my ways of getting to that.
Oh man,
that
you were so money at that.
It was fun. We got to talk about your playing career
real quick. I just want to make a note for our audience at home. We're talking red zone strategy with Mr. Red Zone right now. I just want to appreciate that,
baby. I love it.
I love it.
Now you played high school ball in Michigan.
I was good. I was a good high school player, captain of the team. You know, all conference.
What position?
I guess. Believe it or not, I was a lineman. I was a center. I weighed 235.
What do you mean, believe it or not? The center is usually one of the smartest guys on the team.
Well, I appreciate it. I tried.
And I could tell through your preparation, like you want your center to be a smart guy.
Well, when you don't have raw talent, you better have enthusiasm and intelligence. And I tried to over prepare everything. So I was a center and I was a long snapper.
Yeah.
The more you can do,
the more
right?
you can do.
So then I after my playing days, I was like a Division III talent.
Yeah.
Division III schools wanted me to come, and I would have played at the Division III level. But I knew I wanted to be a sports broadcaster when I was in high school, and I said, I want to set my mind on this. The NFL is not a dream for me playing. So I researched who has the best sports broadcasting program in the country.
Well,
Syracuse University. Even you know that, right? Bob Costas, Dick Stockton, Marv Albert, Mike Tirico.
Now I'm in this world. You realize
and there's so many people behind the scenes.
There's they're in Northwestern, right?
Northwestern's excellent,
and Syracuse. That's what I hear. The big boys
for sportscasting. It is
the best.
Yeah, it's the gold standard.
They call it the Harvard of sportscasting.
Yeah, and it is. You just Google the list of sportscasters that came out of Syracuse. It's incredible. So I said, okay, Bob Costas went there. I want to go there. Division I, major Division I football.
Yeah.
And so I walked on the team. I walked on the team my freshman year, 1989. That's how old I am. And made the team because I could snap. And they were like, let's just keep this walk-on kid around. He could be our third long snapper, deep emergency long snapper. But then I was like, what am I going to do besides snap? So I cut weight, got down to around 200 pounds, tried to get my speed up. Like I could actually break a 5-flat 40. Oh boy, wheels. And I had good hands. And I was smart. They only needed to tell me once how to do something, and I had it on lock. So I played wide receiver and defensive back at Syracuse in the scout team.
Wow.
And I was one of those guys that star players used to love to hate. because I was going 100 miles an hour Wednesday afternoon at 2:30 when they're like, yo, chill, bro. My quads are just killing me. And I'm like, no, coach told me I got to get you ready for the game. I'm coming after you.
That's team guy. He's a glue guy.
Right, baby.
Glue guy, baby.
Glue guy.
That's a glue guy. Now,
You know who my strength coach was for 2 years?
who?
Mike Wojcik.
Mike
Now-
Wasick?
yeah.
Is it Wasick?
Wojcik is how we used to say it. It looks.
Did he go to
WOD
he went to the Cowboys, right?
He had more Super Bowl rings,
And he was
than
mine.
prior to Brady and Belichick winning their additional ones. Did you ever cross over with him?
I was with Wojcik for 3 years.
He would talk out of the side
And he
of
made
his
you
mouth.
listen to Johnny Cash if you were a rookie. He
I
used
don't
to
remember that.
in
but-
the weight room. You could only listen. The rookies had their assigned times that we had to
Okay.
work out.
Okay.
And anytime you go in there, it'd be nothing but Johnny. We couldn't
No
use the radio.
requests.
Then a vet would come in and he could change it. And Wojcik, it's all right. He used to eat the craziest breakfasts. Do you remember his breakfast?
No, tell me about this.
He used
Because
to
I got
have
a
a
couple
s-
stories about him, but
He would have a scramble with everything that was like any kind of meat and cheese that they had there. So
Okay.
there'd be sausage, egg,
Yeah.
like 15 eggs, every type of cheese, turkey,
protein.
dude. And he
premium.
loved his cigars. Did you
that
remember
right?
that?
No, I
See,
don't remember
I saw
that.
the pro version of him.
Dude,
So,
try,
like,
you,
you
may have
could-
been a rookie under him. Try being a
Freshman.
walk-on freshman
Oh.
scrub. I came up to him one day
Wojcik.
at practice. Yeah. Can you Google him? Or you
I
allowed
got
to
him.
put
He's,
up?
he's
Yeah.
from Westford, Mass. He went to BC. He
How
started
many
at
Super Bowl
Springfield.
rings? It's like
Six.
5
He's got
or 6.
Six.
Yeah, he's got six.
Three
The
with
most
the
decorated
three with
strength
us and three
coach.
with Cowboys.
Yep. So he was at Syracuse. The reason he went to New England was Dick McPherson was the head coach at Syracuse. McPherson was a New England guy, and McPherson could have stayed at Syracuse and won 9-10 games, winning bowl games, and had the life. But the NFL called. He went and became the Patriots coach.
Yeah.
For only like 2 years. He didn't do well with the
he
Patriots.
was with us for like
No, 10.
10.
2000 to 2010.
wait who?
No, Wojcik was.
Oh,
Dick
sorry.
McPherson was the
I'm
reason
sorry.
Wojcik
Yeah.
went to the Patriots. Wojcik stayed in the NFL
Yeah.
and was successful forever. McPherson only lasted a few seasons
Yeah.
at the Patriots, but that's how he was the Syracuse strength coach.
Yeah.
So freshman walk on, and I'm Mr. Puppy Enthusiasm, like, hey, rah, rah, and all this like this. And everyone knew, because you used to have the freshmen would have to stand up in the first team meeting, say who you are, where you're from, and what position you played, and then something about you. And I said, I'm Scott Hanson. I'm a walk-on long snapper from Rochester, Michigan. And I came here because Syracuse has the greatest sportscasting program, and I want to be the next Bob Costas, something like that. And they boo all the freshmen.
Yeah.
Whatever. You're supposed to introduce yourself to these. So the next practice, I go to the sideline, and we're running cross fields or whatever, and I ended up right next to Wojcik, and Wojcik just standing there like nothing was ever good enough for him or whatever. And I'm like, let's go, Mike. Let's have a day today. And he looks at me, and he goes, Hanson, you can take that Bob Costas act and shove it up your ass.
That's exactly what he said.
Out the side of his mouth. And I'm like this
Yeah.
kid who's trying to be friends with everybody. I'm like
That's
17, 18-year-old freshman. I went, I don't think I ever talked to him again for the rest of the time I was there. I was so scared of him.
Wojcik, he punk you. He used to punk me.
He tried everybody. He wanted people tough, I guess, is what it
He
was.
tried to punk me until that first off season came, and I
You
fucking
stood up to him?
I didn't stood up to him. I just did. I was first in every
Oh,
goddamn
I see.
drill.
So what could he say?
He can't say
Let's
shit to me
go.
now,
Let's
Wojcik.
go.
Wojcik.
Let's go. Mike, where are you at now, Mike? Where are you
Wojcik.
at?
Nah, I love Mike.
No,
I
he's-
love
hey,
Mike.
one of the
I
classic.
used to get him cigar. I also got him a bunch of cigars too, so he'd get off my ass.
was that a
he-
rookie thing or just you
Pro
were
move,
you
pro
were
move.
taking
Well,
care of him?
I didn't say anything to him. Like I just, he would, rookie me,
Yeah.
but I wanted him to like me. I was
Of
very,
course.
kind of, I wanted to, so like I would do little things. Like I'd go get him cigars and shit. And,
I don't remember
Wojcik,
cigars, yeah.
he was funny,
One of a
man.
kind. Yeah, give him a Google. If you're a football fan, he's a guy that almost nobody knows outside of the NFL, but those people who knew him when he was doing, the Dallas Cowboys, he was there for all three of their Super
All
Bowls,
three.
I believe. And then, like you said, three with the Patriots, too. So, hey, you want to get back to 2020? Because we didn't finish the story
Let's
about
hear.
Todd Gurley.
Todd Gurley,
Okay, so we were
4-minute
at
offense,
we were at 'cause
Rolex.
here's the deal. It can be devastating. So Gurley stops at the one. He tried to stop at the 1 yard line, but he had too much momentum going forward. Okay, we got the box score here. So he goes in. The Falcons score, But then they're only up by 6. They kicked the regular standard extra point. They were up by 1. All they needed was a field goal, and they could have kneeled on it until 4 seconds left, called their last timeout, kicked the chip shot center of the field, field goal. So Stafford gets the ball back with, I don't know how much time it was, a minute or so, goes down the field, and on the last play of the game, was it Hawkinson? Okay.
Hawkinson.
So he must have been a rookie then. He was a rookie first rounder. Yeah. Hawkinson scores. He may have been a second-year guy. Scores an 11-yard pass with zeros on the clock.
Stafford.
And Gurley and Stafford's bad man in the fourth quarter. Always.
Grim Reaper.
And
that's my theory about that's why he's different in the whole West Coast system. That's my.
Is that right? Because
you look at all look at all the production by all these Kyle Shanahan McVay quarterbacks. Sure. You look at Tua, you look at Brock, you look at Jordan Love, you look at who's doing well, Jared Goff. All these quarterbacks, they're amazing from when they're playing from ahead. The one outlier, and that system is always great because it wants to play from ahead. So you could play to the defense and have your defense pin back. But it's the one that's the most dangerous is it's the quarterback with the best drop back system that played always from behind for fucking 12 years, however long he was in Detroit.
Yep.
That's the outlier of the whole thing. And that's really the only time that system has won the Super Bowl. Now, Andy Reid's in that system, but he's the real Bill Walsh West Coast. He doesn't. He's not in the stretch. He'd rather throw the ball than run the ball. But out of all these, we talk about this so much with the Clint Kubiaks and all these systems have the most production out of that one quarterback, and it makes all these quarterbacks. Derek Carr looks like he's the best. This guy's the best. This guy got a new life out of this system. Kevin O'Connell and Sam Darnold. Wait until they have to play from behind. That's when you know if they're a badass dude. And Matthew Stafford had to do it his whole career.
He did.
So he knows how to drop back pass. So he's the outlier in that whole thing.
And he's tough as nails. He's got an arm that can still to this day can get it anywhere on the field that you need to.
Yeah.
He's seen every scenario that you can. I believe he is the active leader in fourth quarter comebacks.
Yeah,
the
probably.
active leader.
Every game
for the two reasons he's a
every
great
game he
football player
played in
and he was
Detroit, he was behind.
Yeah. So they score with no time left, but then they had to kick the extra point.
Had
the
to.
final score, we'll go back to the Lions, was 23-22. So they had to, it was 22-22 at double zeros on the clock.
Was that little coup who kicked it in?
They got no, it was Lions. It was Lions. I think Matt Prater was their kicker then. It was Prater. They had to kick they got a celebration penalty because they scored with double zeros.
And it was far. It was 40.
Far. Then they got a false start penalty or an illegal formation penalty 5 yards back. They kicked it, it went through, and the Falcons tried to jump the snap, so they got a penalty, and so the Lions obviously declined it. But there you go, situational football. If Todd Gurley was able to hold his water on the 1 yard line, you wouldn't have had it.
No.
Another game that was bananas, unless you want to talk about the Detroit
game.
Wait.
We'll get back into our witching hour.
Yeah.
We have a segment where we go back in time.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Around the time of when this witching hour took place, which was October 25th, 2020. And we go over some of the pop culture things.
Let's go.
Number one movie, Come Play. Have you ever seen that?
What? I've never heard
2020.
of that.
2020.
You've seen it?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm telling
I've never heard of it,
If
dude.
anything that was launched during COVID.
Yeah, exactly. It was a lost year in our lives.
Number one song, Mood by 24K Golden featuring Ian Dior.
Dior, sure, if you say so.
Another snoozer. Tough pop culture time.
This is a bad time to
It
go
was a
back
tough
to.
one.
Yeah.
I did. So
Let's move past it.
around this time, Tenet, The War with Grandpa, Hocus Pocus 2, which I watched that with my daughter. The witches are back.
Okay.
We're all popping in.
Witching hour reference.
That's right.
Yeah.
Witching hour. There you
Halloween.
go. Halloween. Tenet.
Tenet,
So
yeah.
this
that was
came out-
weird. That was a weird movie.
No. This is
you
No,
okay.
it wasn't weird.
You're all in. Christopher Nolan can do no wrong.
As soon as we lose this fucking game, Chris.
Yeah.
Or Scott.
Yeah. I've been called Chris Hanson my whole life.
I know, it's fucking crazy.
Speaking of that, tell me about your screen name on your chat room. No, I'm joking. It's a Chris Hanson.
Have a seat.
Have a seat. Have a seat right over there.
Hey, you got the transcripts.
Tenet comes out. We lose this game to the Niners.
Yeah.
I'm pissed. And I have like 3 people in my ecosystem. My best friend, my girlfriend at the time, who was traveling in and out. And anytime they would come and we would hang out, before we could hang out, they'd have to get COVID tested.
Oh, geez.
And then they would sit in a hotel until we got the results. And if they were clear, then we were all allowed to hang out.
Okay, so you'd watch movies.
So I rented out a movie theater to watch Tenet because I was friends. I was a huge supporter of J.D. Washington.
Okay.
And my girlfriend at the time came and I got COVID, and that's why this was my last game. I got COVID. My knee was flaring up.
Was that publicly known?
What?
I mean, we thought you had an injury that was.
Well, I
that
had an
shut you
injury
down.
I had an injury in this game that was killing me, right?
Yeah.
And that I was continually rehabbing. I tore the root of my meniscus.
Yeah.
So like that was tough. But then I got COVID, and
Okay.
I couldn't have any physical therapy for 12 days, and my knee blew up so bad that I couldn't get it back to get back in. And that's Tenet.
How was the movie?
I couldn't even understand it.
That's what I said. I thought you were going to sing the praises of the movie because I
No,
tried
but
it.
John
and I was
Avery's
like,
in it.
Week.
Sean Avery's in it.
Sean Avery, was he in it? I thought
yeah.
he was in Oppenheimer.
He's in
weird
both.
time slips and stuff like that.
I got to rewatch
Yeah.
it. I got to rewatch
Nah, you
it.
don't. It's fine.
I support it, though.
Quibi shutting down. I remember that.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Quick
What was
bites,
life
baby.
like for you in 2020? It was hard,
crazy.
the whole...
We had to do
Protocol.
social distancing,
Yeah.
and if you guys do this show here, and you've been in and around some television control rooms.
Yeah.
You are elbow to elbow with people. We had to do social distancing at the network,
Yeah.
in the studio, everything else. Oh, I'll tell you how crazy it was. So you know who won the Super Bowl that year,
Yeah.
which was obviously back to February. Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I was for a number of years the host, and you may remember this in your Super Bowls that you played in. I was the in-stadium host for the Super Bowl. In other words, if you were one of the people that had one of the 70,000 people that got a Super Bowl ticket, when everyone else around the world was watching the infinite commercials, they would put me up on the big screen and I would give some stats, facts, maybe do some highlights and stuff in the stadium to fill the time. So I did that for the Tom Brady Buccaneers Super Bowl, which was played at Raymond James Stadium.
Which was like a quarter, or only half sold.
Only half full, and they put cardboard cutouts in the stands next to live human beings. They made me, this is an outdoor stadium, they made me wear a mask for appearances. They made me wear a mask. I'm like, I'm outdoors. My camera folks were 12 feet over here and 12 feet over here. I'm like, there's no human no, you got to wear a mask. I broadcasted the Super Bowl like this. Oh, I was mad. I'm still mad.
How
about it, quite
crazy.
frankly. I was like,
we
it
look
was-
back
was
on
fun.
it, we're like, man,
It was wild.
it was a wild
Yeah,
time.
Yeah. So yeah, it was crazy. I don't even, my life was lost like that. We all stayed home. We watched Tiger King
yeah.
and
football.
and football. And then
you.
the Michael Jordan documentary came out.
Yeah.
that
Last
year.
Dance.
Last
Fire.
Dance.
Also, that NFL draft, ooh, that was a good one.
And
Needed
the
it,
NFL
too.
draft
Yeah.
from
the
Rodgers'
basement.
Yeah. Where everyone had
Yep.
cancer. Yeah.
The Lakers beat the Heat in the bubble.
in the bubble, which
Eli-
they still had a parade here and like a makeshift parade.
Yeah.
It was not organized, but remember they had a parade in Los Angeles. They were not going to stop Laker fans from celebrating in the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy year for a bunch of guys in the league that retired. Eli Manning.
Wow.
Aqib Talib, which I loved.
Eli Manning, Hall of Famer or not?
Yeah, he's Hall of Fame.
Okay.
You take down the
I
You
agree.
can't
I
tell-
agree, but that's a debate among media types. It's
Yeah.
a debate.
I know, but he
Philip Rivers, Hall of Famer.
No, he don't got two rings.
See, that's the argument. Philip had better stats. Eli had better moments and championships.
he had the largest moment. Like he literally, it was David versus Goliath.
Yes.
To have that win.
Dude, greatest I have seen. I'm 53. You're still a young man.
Yeah.
I've seen, I know you've obviously gone back in the history books. I've gone back. The greatest football team I have ever seen
Yeah.
did not win the Super Bowl because of Eli Manning.
That's Hall of Fame right there.
That
hurts.
Patriots team was the greatest
If
team
you look at David
I have ever seen.
in the Bible, and you look at Goliath, I
He
bet you
slunk-
the stats aren't good, but who we talking about? The stats aren't good, but who we talking about? We're talking about David.
Does David ever have a 4,000-yard season?
He said, give me one stone. That's all I need. I'm putting it right in the forehead. And he did. David hit Goliath in the forehead with, we're told.
Precision.
And he hit He hit
Tyree.
David
Or-
Tyree
Yeah.
in the head with
Yeah.
a pass.
It was holding. It was like
Holding.
Yeah. Asante Samuel should have squeezed
Oh, my
it.
God.
I'm sorry, it's true. He knows
should've.
it. I still can't believe that team didn't win the Super Bowl.
I'm with you.
Greatest team I've ever seen, maybe at any level.
It was gnarly. I remember watching it at Kent State.
What year were you?
I was like a sophomore or
Yeah.
a junior.
Yeah.
I had a junior. I was like,
Bananas.
man, I couldn't
But the
believe
pass rush, Strahan and company, they did
Pierce.
everything.
Head coach
Yeah.
Pierce was part of
It's-
that team.
He was. Yep. That defense.
Stray was
Everything.
in that one. Stray,
Yep.
man.
Yep.
Yep.
Fucking Stray. He's the man. Antonio Gates retired
A
this year.
Hall of Famer. Luke Kuechly, Hall
Kent
of
State
Famer.
Golden Flash.
Luke Kuechly, Hall of Famer.
Kent State Golden Flash, Antonio Gates.
Luke that's right. Kent State.
We went to the same school.
Yeah, slam dunk Hall of
I think
Famer.
Kuechly's a Hall of Famer.
I think
Kuechly?
Keek?
I think he gets in.
How many years?
Let me look.
He retired early.
Yeah.
I was on the air. I did the breaking
DC
news
guy.
when he shockingly announced his. I'm going to say he played 8 years,
He was
a stud.
9 years.
He was
And how many
12 to 19 as a Panther.
Okay, and
2012 to 19.
How many
so, yeah.
Pro Bowls?
He was
Probably 8.
7.
7. He
Yeah.
was Defensive Player of the Year.
5-time first-team
Yep.
All-Pro.
He was Defensive Rookie
Yeah,
of the Year.
he's
Yep.
probably.
Yeah.
He was the best player at his
Combined.
position for
Yeah.
more than 4
you
years.
ever talked with that guy?
He's very smart, isn't he?
Next level, and like never stumbles over his words. Like is a crystallized thinker.
Yeah.
Like he sees things.
That's
He's
a red
a
flag to
soft
me.
spo- Oh, really?
It's a red, you don't stumble over it one word, the red flag.
He might be a cyborg.
That's red flag. Keek.
Hey,
Jules, you're nothing but green flags, baby.
Should have thrown a yellow flag on that
the-
holding of Gronk in the end zone that night.
Yeah, that's
Monday
exactly.
night game.
That's that Monday Night Football.
I was there, bro.
Fucking
Almost
bullshit.
jumped out of the upper
Yeah.
deck.
Yeah.
Ugh.
You watched
Yep.
those years
Yep.
with Gronk in
Yep.
what year was that?
They-
2013. That was 2013.
I
That was
believe
the
it
year
was.
after that we were talking about.
Yep. The year after the year after we
yeah,
did Best
we-
Buddies
Best
and all of
Buddies.
that. Yeah. That was your first 100 catch,
That's
1,000 yard season.
That was with Cam Newton in the end zone. Rob used
Yes.
to get mauled, bro.
Yes.
And he never got any calls. And we talk about it all the time. That's why he did the people's elbow on the one guy because he got held 4 times in one play. He was so mad that he didn't get the holy call. He people's elbowed Buffalo.
I think they threw one, if I remember the details of that, they threw one earlier in the game, maybe even earlier in the fourth quarter, and they swallowed the flag on
I
the
think it
last
was on
one.
that exact play. They picked it up.
Yes.
Yes.
That
And-
play's
and-
called
and-
Panther. It's called Panther. Rob, go up to the middle linebacker. They hit him. We lost.
Yeah. You ask 100 neutral football fans, PI or not, 99 of them are going to say yes, and the other one needs an eye test.
John Brinkus even did like a sports science on it the other day.
Oh, did he
Yeah, 'cause
really?
They said
On that
or not
play?
the other day, but a couple days after
Yeah.
that play of Gronk's catch radius. It was insane.
It was bad.
God, I still can't get over that.
The DH was announced to both leagues.
What are your thoughts on that?
Weird.
I hated it.
Hated it?
I liked that you see the pitcher hit sometimes.
Yeah.
It's fun.
And I grew up watching the Giants, San Francisco Giants, so we saw our pitchers
Yeah.
hit. And
Automatic
Bumgarner used to hit
out.
bombs.
And
Bartolo Colon
he
out
could
there.
swing
He
every
used to
once
hit
in a while.
bombs.
Yeah.
When you're a pitcher go up there, you get a
pitch
free
clock in
homie.
baseball. Where are you at with the pitch clock in baseball?
Honestly, I think it's great for TV, but when you're at the game, it sucks because the games fly. You want to be at. I remember as a kid, you'd be at the game for 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
praying that your mom wouldn't let you go to school the next day because it was so
Trainings,
late.
yeah. We
want
you know what I mean?
extras.
It was crazy. But Fitzgerald
It's
retired. Or
Great.
17th season, he was still
What
here.
a player.
Something
He's a-
about Kyler Murray throwing to Larry Fitzgerald just seems so weird looking back on it.
Why?
Like this, I don't know. It just seems weird. Those two
Generation.
generate. It's just wild.
Yeah, well, it happened.
I know.
Washington became the Washington football team, which I think they should be the Washington football team. I thought that was too.
Go back.
Has he gone on record saying this before?
I thought that was a cool look. It's like almost like it's so old school that they don't even have a team name because that's one of those pivotal organizations that's been around forever.
Yeah, I mean, they might change it again though, because some people don't like Commanders.
It's terrible.
The owner is,
What the hell is
is
Commander?
new since the Commander.
What is this?
Yeah,
That's like any given Sunday, like when you know, like when you can't get the licensing for real, like you
the
look
Sharks,
at a movie,
the Miami
yeah.
Sharks,
Commanders.
yeah. The only thing I didn't like about Washington football team, WFT is too close to WTF. Is that
That's
like,
good.
it's kinda,
I never thought of that.
Did that ever bother you? Like,
does. I
kinda
some
liked
people
it.
would abbreviate it
I
that
liked
way,
it.
and I was
kinda
like,
liked
yeah.
Yeah,
I like
I didn't think about the
what the
abbreviation.
fudge team. Now, what's your sports fandom? Do you like? Are you growing up? You were all Michigan, Detroit Lions.
So I grew up in the suburbs of Detroit. I grew up if you remember the old Pontiac Silverdome, which is where the Lions used to play, I go back to the Billy Sims days.
Wow.
So before Barry Sanders, we lived about 15, 20 minutes drive from the Silverdome. And my dad used to take me to games, and I loved the Lions were my team growing up. To be honest, the Lions right now, they're one of 32 teams. Like, if this is the year for them, and this is the best team they've had in years, and they're obviously a contender, if they win the Super Bowl, I will be thrilled. But I'll be thrilled for all of my high school buddies who still live and die with the Lions. Like me, I don't have, Honolulu blue and silver pom-poms or anything like that. I love it that a team that has been traditionally bad for decades is back contention and maybe on top. But the team that had my heart, Syracuse football, because I played for 4 years there, but the Michigan Wolverines. I grew up going to the Big House. Julian, my first ever football game, maybe besides like a high school game, my first ever going to a game was walking into the Big House, my dad taking me to Ann Arbor. Yeah. And I went to the stadium, and you ever been inside that stadium?
Never been.
You've seen it on TV. There's no levels to it. It is one level. Yeah. It starts at row 1 and goes to row 130 or whatever it is. There's no tiers, no levels. You walk in, it's like the Coliseum, the biggest stadium in the country. And then when I would go to other stadiums, I'd be like, they don't have a stadium that's 100,000. This only holds 75,000 people. What kind of chintzy stadium do you have here? So the Wolverines had my heart since I was like a little boy. I watched Jim Harbaugh as a player in college. I watched him quarterback Michigan. That's how far I go back. Wow. So I still love Michigan football. And then Detroit across the board. Tigers. I was at the 1984 Tigers clinching the World Series game. You weren't even on Earth then.
Not yet.
Yeah. Kirk Gibson, upper deck home run to clinch it against the San Diego Padres.
Unreal.
1984. Bless you, boys.
What are your thoughts on Coney Island hot dogs?
Yeah, so Coney, so you've got different branches. There's a whole subset. You would need to go on
American.
Yes.
We just had Keegan-Michael Key on. He's a big Detroit guy.
Oh,
he
that's
was
right.
Giving us the layout. Yeah.
I bet you he was awesome.
We gotta get Scott on the text chain.
The Detroit fan text
chain. Oh, I'd be honored.
Yeah,
we could talk.
We always talk about the celebrity text chain for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay, who else would go on the Detroit one?
You got Kid Rock. You got
Edelman. Oh, there you go.
Jeff Daniels.
Jeff Daniels.
You've had them all on this?
No, but we're just talking about the people that should be on.
Okay,
should be on.
Yeah,
Eminem.
Okay,
Jackie, let's set the stage for this
Break
red zone.
Down. So usually we go team versus team.
Yeah.
This, we're going to take it a little bit like we did with Laird Hamilton, as you viewers at home may remember. We did Laird versus the Wave.
Yes.
The big wave.
I get compared to Laird all the time, by the way.
Yeah. I was going to say, Scott Laird.
Hold on, can you hold your breath?
He's got so much. He's got testosterone pheromones. Did he say that? Testosterone pheromones that just make girls go crazy or something.
Just emanating. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. So in this one, we're going to do Red Zone.
Love Laird.
Not really versus Week 7, but Red Zone and Week 7 are going to be treated like our Team 1 and Team 2.
Okay.
So first, Red Zone, as you know, hosted by our main man, Scott Hanson, the Sunday Sherpa. He guides us through every Sunday. Airs 7 hours commercial-free, 1 p.m. Eastern to 8 p.m. Eastern. There was also the DirecTV version.
Yes.
The Coke to Pepsi, if you will.
Which still crosses people up.
Yeah,
do you know that whole story? Yeah.
Tell us, what's the story?
Okay. Sunday Ticket, right? Which is the package that you buy. Now it's through YouTube TV. But if you want to watch, if you're a New England Patriots fan who lives in Los Angeles, you got to watch the Rams games or the Chargers games on local TV. So you buy Sunday Ticket, of course, to watch all the if you want to see every snap of the Patriots game. So DirecTV had an exclusive contract. They used to pay the NFL $1 billion a year for the exclusivity to have Sunday Ticket. And then you had to get DirecTV was the only way you could get Sunday Ticket. So it was their business model. Well, they started, I'm not sure what year, I think it was 2007 maybe. They started a thing called the Red Zone channel, which was basically the same showing touchdowns, go whip around show and everything. And Andrew Siciliano, another Syracuse grad,
nice.
He hosted that. So the NFL, when the NFL decided they wanted to start NFL Red Zone, it was because it was business driven. The cable companies were saying, hey, we don't want to take NFL Network and put it on basic cable because you guys don't have any games. This is before Thursday Night Football. Mm-hmm. They said, give us, like Comcast or Time Warner, the big cable companies, said, give us Sunday Ticket, and we can sell that to our customers. And they said, boys and girls, DirecTV pays us $1 billion with a B for the exclusivity of that. So they had this tension. So Steve Bornstein, who was a long Hall of Fame television executive, sports TV executive, he ran he ran ESPN in the 90s. He founded NFL Network when the NFL owners decided they wanted it. He was president of NFL Network at the time. And he said, tell you what, to Comcast and Time Warner and all these cable companies, we're not going to give you Sunday Ticket, but what if we develop a channel that will not show you every snap of every game, but show you every touchdown from every game, every great moment of every game, every pivotal, everything that's crucial. We'll do it commercial free. We'll give this to you. You can sell this to your customers in lieu of Sunday Ticket, but you got to take NFL Network and put it on your basic cable, which just prints money from the subscription fee. And in 2009, 2 or 3 of the big cable companies said, if you do it, we'll do it. That's how NFL RedZone became, and I got named the original host.
Incredible.
But DirecTV was doing theirs, so some people still think that Andrew Siciliano hosts RedZone.
So which one's Pepsi and which one's Coke?
That's for the consumer to decide. I will say this. The RedZone channel doesn't exist anymore.
Oh,
So I'm just saying. I mean, I'm not.
so you're Coke?
I mean, if you like a cola, there's only one choice right now.
Oh,
The official.
Let
That's
the
right.
big doggy, boys.
I'm just saying. No, I love Andrew. The folks at DirecTV, they did an awesome job with it. It like business is business, and
You gotta do business as business is being done, boys.
there were people on a much higher pay grade than you and I that were making those calls. But I'm still thankful that I get to be the touchdown
Yes.
Sherpa.
Let's go,
for
baby.
folks. Yeah.
Did you guys ever talk, like, while you're on these parallel paths, like, did you guys ever talk or compare anything?
He's the only other person on the planet
He
who
does,
really knows
literally.
what it's like. And I love Andrew as a broadcaster. He's doing the Cleveland Browns games right now this
that's right.
season. He got the radio job for the Cleveland Browns. We would text each other every once in a while. When I was up for the hosting role for NFL RedZone, I called him and just said, "Hey, Andrew," because we knew each other from Syracuse. And I called him. I said, "Hey, what are some of the things that I might want to think about and everything?" Because you can imagine, like, being thrust into 7 hours, no commercials. There's not only no football show like it, there's no television show like NFL RedZone, where it's a single voice, ad-libbed for 7 straight hours. And he was gracious and gave me some thoughts and whatnot. But there was also the tension, I suppose, between, you could respect another wide receiver's game, but you thought you were the best wide receiver when you were at the peak of your powers, right?
Yeah.
So
There's respect.
Respect for sure.
Oh, definitely respect. But if it was like,
bite his face off.
if Tom Brady needed someone to catch something, you were the only man he should look at.
Come on, Scott.
I'm saying. So if the NFL needed something to perform at the highest level, I was like, I'll rip the cover off the ball. Put me in, coach.
Look at Scott, little dog over
No,
here.
I was a scrub football player.
Got a little dog in him.
I decided that when I got into my career, no one was going to outwork me. No one was going to out hustle me, and I was going to find a way to be the best that I could possibly be. And that's the truth. That's the way I would recommend anybody should approach whatever their walk of life is.
Without a doubt.
I love that mentality.
I love it.
Heck yes.
Take us through how you got the job. How do you get this? How do you interview for
Okay.
the RedZone? Like, that's crazy.
So
What's
you need,
this like?
Yeah, exactly. I was at the time, summer of 2009, when the NFL world had yet to be changed by the presence of Julian Edelman on a NFL field. I had heard that we were starting. I had heard that, in the hallways of NFL Network, that we were starting this, NFL RedZone. And I was a roving reporter at the time. So they used to send me to interview guys at games or practices and do like stand-ups on the sideline and that type of thing. But I knew I wanted to be in studio.
Yeah.
As a wide receiver, you know what your best routes are. You know what your best approach. You can do them all.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can do live reports. I can do interviews. But put me in as an anchor. As
Studio's
the man
awesome.
who is the studio host that is overseeing everything. That's where I want to be. So I called the powers that be at the network. I said, "Is it true we're starting this NFL RedZone?" They said, "Yep." I said, "Who you got to host it?" They said, "Well, we're looking at a few people." I said, is my name on the list? They said, yeah, your name is on the list. And I said, what do I got to do? I want this because I will crush it if you guys put, I called it. And they said, well, we got to do an audition. Now, you need to know that an audition for television typically is 10, 15 minutes long. They put you up on the set. They mic you up. They want to see how you look, how you sound when you're looking into the camera. They maybe bring another co-host up to see if you can handle some crosstalk between the two of you. But that's it, right? But because 7 hours commercial-free football, stamina is part of the game. The audition for NFL RedZone was not 15 minutes. It was 5 hours long. 5 hours.
5 hours?
This was like in June of 2009. They took 8 random games from the previous season.
Yeah.
They queued them all up to the kickoff of the game. They hit play simultaneously on 8 different games and said, talk, broadcast it.
Jesus.
It was intimidating. Dude, I flop sweat. I had a suit on. I flop sweated right through the suit. I was trying to keep up. I'm like, okay, because I didn't have rosters and stuff in front of me because it was previous games. It wasn't like it was live in the moment. You had no live stats from the internet or anything else like that. So we went for the 5 hours. At the end, I remember thinking, I either got this job or I just embarrassed myself as bad as I could ever be embarrassed. I had no idea what in between the two. A few weeks later, maybe about 2-3 weeks later, I get a call from the executive producer at NFL Network, and he said, Scott, just want to let you know, we want to offer you the hosting role of NFL
Awesome.
RedZone. I was like, oh, Eric, that's awesome. I said, so you watched the 5 hour audition? He said, Scott, I watched the first 10 minutes of it, and I knew you were my guy. And I was like, oh, thanks, that's great. And in my mind, I'm thinking, why in the you have me do 5 hours, ruin a perfectly good suit, and all of this?
How'd you ruin the suit?
I sweated right through it. I didn't ruin it, but I mean, it was.
Did you pee in it?
Yes, of course. It took. Wait, how far are we in? It took him this long to bring up the pee.
That's a record.
It took
That's
him
a-
this
that's a
long.
record.
You know, we had a fire alarm a couple years. I don't leave, dude. A soldier does not leave his post.
You can't. He's a foxhole guy.
Foxhole.
Do you know who else auditioned?
Ooh.
I do. You know what? I do know. Do you know the name Paul Burmeister? He is a sportscaster at NBC Sports.
Paul Burmeister.
He did Notre Dame games for a while. He's done. He's a great like Swiss Army knife broadcaster. Burmeister used to be an anchor at NFL Network at the time. I'm 90% sure he did. And the other ones, I got to be honest, I don't know. I need to find that out.
Not worried about the competition, Kay.
It's exactly. I worry about what I can control.
Only worry what you can control, Kyler.
You know what I'm saying?
Can't be counting other people's pennies.
When a new season would begin, let me ask you this. When a new season would begin, and there was undoubtedly, one or two new faces in and around the wide receiver room, how much are you checking them out in the first few drills and routes and everything else?
I saw everything before they even got on the field.
You were watching their college stuff.
You're counting their
watching
pennies?
their.
You come up in my room.
Give it to me. Tell me.
I gotta know what you're about.
So any draft pick, any free agent signing,
watch
you were looking at them.
You watch.
And this is when you're already a star, or this is when you're up and coming.
When I was up and coming, you're looking just because you wanted to see
who you got to be better than.
Yeah, and then at the other, when it transitioned to, I knew I was going to be there. It was more of like, who can help us? What's his strengths? What are the things I could help him with?
Are you the reason that every single Foxborough faithful thinks the next time they get a not tall white wide receiver, he's going to be 100 catches and 1,000 yards? Because Welker was there, and then you came, and then they think, okay, well, Chris Hogan's going to be the next Pro Bowl wide receiver, and who else did they have?
Braxton
I don't mean to make it
Berrios.
about
Braxton Berrios.
Braxton Berrios and stuff like that.
Gunnar
You can just
Olszewski.
roll out a guy with a certain body type and a certain pigmentation.
We need McConkey.
And there's
Ladd.
Ladd looks like he could be nice.
Slade.
No,
We're due. There's
we're due.
We're due. There's got to be another one. Coop's a little hurt right now. There's always Thielen's getting a little older up there. There's always
Go back to let's circle back to the late window packet. Go back to that Patriots game. The Patriots note Patriots 49ers.
Patriot Niner.
Look at my bottom right factoid.
Welker, SF coach.
So I just had written
Oh,
down,
he
hey, by the
fucking-
way, Wes
so
Welker
Welk
was the San
retired
Francisco
me.
49ers
Shit, I didn't
coach.
even think
Welk
about that.
retired me.
Did you remember that he was at that game?
No,
Well, you know.
didn't. I
I
was
mean,
looking at-
he's been a position coach in
I
the
know,
NFL
he's
now
with,
for a
Miami
while.
right
Yeah,
now.
Dolphins, yeah.
I
So-
knew he was. I knew maybe like after, but I didn't remember until now. Until
Yeah.
I just saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he retired me.
Yeah.
Well, Wes
And
Welker.
these are the type of things that I put in my
These-
I mean,
These
not
are
that-
great,
I don't-
though.
little anecdotes, and you know what? Sometimes I get mad sometimes if I have a really good one and it doesn't, the
Yeah.
situation doesn't call for it, and I'm like if you knew you had a play that was a touchdown and for whatever reason you didn't get to it on the play sheet, you had
Yeah.
to be a little hacked off.
Yeah, you are, but then you get to save it for the next time.
Okay, I suppose
You can
unless
save
you
that
thought
anecdote
unless you
for-
thought it was only against the Ravens we could score a touchdown in this because they play this a certain way.
Yeah, but there's always gonna be another situation where you play against another Ryan who has that
Yeah.
Ravens system that you're gonna have that same
Okay.
look eventually.
Yeah.
Against that specific situation.
Yeah.
You never as long as you got the win, you were never mad that the,
course.
you didn't call a play or a touchdown play. Yeah, you sit back, but you're like. You would go and remind the guy, the play caller, Tom, hey, we didn't cover this one, so hey, let's
Back
keep
pocket
that
it.
back pocket.
Yeah,
Let's back
that's
pocket
sweet.
that.
Yeah.
What makes for a great red zone production?
Ooh.
Because I saw the early raps where at the beginning it was just like 3 of you guys, right, that were doing it at the very beginning.
Well, you may have only seen a few of them, like
I know how big's the team.
about 30 people, give or take, in the 20s up to 30.
Now it wasn't always 30. When did it start
We've
getting
had-
big?
No, it started getting bigger when we started making money.
Yeah.
When it was proven that this is a big money maker.
Nice.
We got some more resources. To answer your question, you know how I grade things? I do it 2 ways: live in the moment, because you got to understand, I am standing up for most of the show,
Yeah.
and I'm standing in front of a wall of monitors. So I see what you see at home. I've got a whole monitor. It's called the program monitor.
Yeah.
Meaning this is what the football world and Red Zone is broadcast all over the world, every continent and every country with an internet signal can get it. So I see what everyone sees at home, but I also get to see what you don't see. So I'm taking mental notes of, okay, we didn't show that, we did show that, we didn't show that. And if we blend it together, it's like shuffling a deck of cards. If you don't know what you're doing, they can go flying all over the place and it
Yeah.
can be ugly. But if it's smooth and it's tight and it's like, oh man, this happened in real time, and our audience saw it within 15 seconds of each other, oh, dude, that jacks me up. That is awesome.
You got someone in your ear?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
So,
there's constant stimulation in my ear for 7 straight hours. I hear the announcers of the games that are at the games. And then I can hear my producer, my director, my coordinating producer, other people can talk to me. They try and limit how many people are talking to me because I've got to be speaking the whole time.
Yeah.
It's wild. And when I pop that earpiece, I have to balance myself on that desk that you see there because my equilibrium is off because I'm going to go deaf in this year at some point.
You don't change it up. You don't go hit the because I got earpieces.
Every other show.
Scott, I got a couple earpieces for an hour.
You got your molds?
You
got your molded
I got my
earpieces?
molds.
Yep.
I got my molds.
Okay.
We only do an hour, but it's not 7.
That's like a Jedi getting a lightsaber. It's yours. It's your particular.
Do you get earwax problems because of it?
Yeah, there's different ways of cleaning them and stuff like that.
I have to
paper
go to
clip. Undo a paper clip first of all, wash your ears before the show.
No, but I swear, ever since I started putting things in my ear like earpieces, I make more wax or something. So my ears, I've never had problems with my ears until I started putting shit in them.
Yeah, well, it's not natural
terrible.
to do that, but it's.
My ear gets plugged every once in a while. I got to go out and see my doctor.
Oh, dude, you should ask your
Schnitman, shout out Schnitman, always cleaning my damn ears.
Doc Schnitman. Is he taking new patients? Maybe I should go see
He's a
him.
great ear guy. He's down in Beverly Hills. Go check him out, Bugs.
Put him on the text thread.
I will.
So anyways, I do every other show in my right ear because I'm like, well, I might as well balance out how I'm going deaf in this year for 7 hours, but whatever. I'm no hero, Julian.
You are.
I'm just sacrificing my body for your entertainment, for your enjoyment.
You entertain a lot. Jackie, let's get into these games.
Should we talked a lot earlier about the witching
Wait,
hour.
hold on. I
go
need
ahead.
to ask you about the Octobox.
Yeah.
Can you just tell me about the Octobox?
How did you get it?
So-
Did you come
yeah.
up with it?
Mm-hmm. And here
I need
is
8. You just
the reason was this. I knew from before show 1, I said, if we execute this concept, 7 hours, commercial-free football, we can go anywhere in the NFL universe anytime we feel like it. I said, if we execute this well, this is going to be the most popular football show on television. I knew that in my head, and that's not revisionist history, I'm telling you. In fact, I called it out. I don't know if you have the clip on YouTube or not. I don't know if you're allowed to
revisionist
show it.
history. I like that.
Oh, yeah. No, this was not revisionist history. I was saying it in the moment. So
Use it.
I came on the first on-camera time I ever came on, the first episode, September 2009. I said, welcome to NFL RedZone, the channel that we hope will change the way you watch football forever.
And you did.
I was, that may have seemed like bombast. It may have seemed like I was Babe Ruth pointing out to center field before the windup, but I felt that way. And there's not a day that goes by when someone doesn't tell me. So with that in mind, I said, I need to come up with something that gives the fans, not just like we're a remote control. Some people describe it as, it's as if you're watching TV with God and he's holding the remote control. Yeah. It's blasphemous, but you understand the point.
It's true.
We always know where to go to and when to go
I
there.
thought that was a fact.
And yeah, it was. Lord, thank you for the red zone. So when we were starting it, I'm like, we got to have like some type of if it's a big game, I like making things feel big. And I want you to feel like Red Zone when it's Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern or 10 a.m. Pacific, and you're sitting down, you got your snacks, your beverages, your fantasy lineup is set, and you want to rock and roll with Uncle Scott for 7 straight hours. I want you to feel how big it is. We have 8 games of the most highly skilled, trained athletes on the planet are going at it simultaneously, and it's all going to lead to wins and losses at 3 hours from now.
Big.
Like, it's big. So when you go to a big game, when you played on Monday Night Football, the first thing before the kickoff ever happened, if you watch it on TV, what do? They do that. They have their open, and we have that, but they show the first visual live from the stadium is the blimp shot, right? Every big game is a blimp shot.
Good year.
It's you go over the top, M&T Bank Stadium, site of today's Baltimore Ravens, New England Patriots Monday night, to show it big. You can't see anything individually there necessarily, but it just gives that feel, and the announcer gets that growl in his voice and stuff. So I said, we need to come up with NFL Red Zone's version of the blimp shot, an overarching big picture view. And I said, guys, why don't we just take, if we've got 8 games, why don't we just take 8 games divided into 8 boxes and put them on there just to show people for 10 seconds, show people we're watching everything. And you're going to see every individual thing in here, but we've got it covered like a blimp shot. Psychologically, it gives you that feel, right?
Yeah.
So I said, do it this. And I came up with, it's not that I came up with the term box, double box, triple box. Those were television industry terms for years, but no one really used it
The Octobox.
on TV. And I'm like, well, why not? People can understand if we call it a double box. Back in the 90s, we used to call 2 screens in television, we would call it a double box, but the anchor would never say that. I said, screw that. I'm gonna call it what it is. Let's go double box right now. Let's go quad box. Ladies and gentlemen, the Octobox. 8 games kicking off across the National Football League, 3 division games in Atlanta, in New England, and in Miami, And then, of course, the next catchphrase, the 7 hours of commercial-free football start now. Yeah. And I did that to make it my Chris Berman, back, gone. He could go all the way. I was like, I got to come up with my own catchphrase so that, quite frankly, I want to be indispensable on the show to think that I don't want anyone, in certain corner offices to think, let's get rid of Hanson and then we'll just, go. So I put my own twist on it. But Octobox was a creation based on my psychological view of a blimp shot for an individual game.
Uncle Scotty and the Octobox.
I love that.
Uncle Scotty and the Octobox.
My nephew, Tyler Hanson, freshman at Boston College, is watching this right now.
BC.
Billy O.
So BC.
We just had Billy O on.
Oh, yeah. Dude, he's turning it around
Lighting
there.
it up.
That guy wins.
He's a good. I
Shout
love
out
Coach.
Billy O,
so
our
he-
guy.
I saw, you know what? I saw that
Really
episode, and I saw that he wouldn't go a couple places because he's still representing a program.
Oh, yeah.
He wouldn't go a couple places that you wanted him to go.
He's not going to go ask
Like
the
when you
Pope
send
for
the
money.
I was
The
trying
Pope
to
should
get him
fund
to
the-
get the Pope to send him some money.
Some NIL money.
Catholic, baby.
Lord.
You got to use what you got to use.
That's right.
Oh,
Pay
my
the
goodness.
dues,
Right.
or you lose.
So was that your
just-
that was your Octobox, your red zone schematic question? Yeah, and then the
Yeah.
witching hour is the other one that people want to know about.
Should we go right to the witching
get
hour?
into
No,
Should we get right into it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dealer's
money?
choice.
High level.
I turn over
high
to the
level
dealer
games.
over
Should we go
here.
high level?
Let's go high level.
We'll do
Jackie,
our
hit
fastest
the
2
high
minutes
level
here.
real quick. on
So
what's
in
going
week
Okay.
7, Scott mentioned this earlier, we got 7 games in the early window. Some notable ones: Pittsburgh, Tennessee. Big Ben comes in there undefeated into Nashville, throws 3 picks, still escapes with a win.
Big
Steve-O missed that 45-yarder that would have tied it. Hated to see that. That's Gostkowski on the Titans that year. Wild.
Wow.
Gosh.
That's right. That's when they were the New England Titans.
Yeah.
Braves.
They
Braves,
were.
Braves,
They were
I
the
know.
Tennessee Patriots.
Malcolm Butler went
Malcolm
down there.
Butler.
Logan
yeah.
Ryan.
Obviously Vrabel and
Braves.
Aaron Rodgers went out there and threw 4 touchdowns. Devontae Adams, 196 yards receiving, 2 tutties in a Packers in Houston rolling 35-20.
Wow.
We got a couple witching hours in this early slate. We'll get to those later. There was a classic 0-6 or 0-7 Jets matchup against Buffalo. That was
Yeesh.
Darnold versus Allen. Allen ran for
Jets
60.
scored a touchdown. Good job, guys. Good job. Good
Threw
job.
for 307. Josh was balling. Then we move into the late window. We got 4 games here. That was the Niners-Pats game we spoke about earlier. The worst home loss of the Belichick era. 33-6. Hated to see that. Jimmy G versus Cam. That was a wild one. Brady down there in Tampa. They rolled New Orleans. They rolled Vegas.
You thought New Orleans because of Derek Carr.
I did. Oh, my God.
Ooh, wow, there is a lot of commingling
My mind's going
crossover.
crazy over here. And then we had rookie Justin Herbert versus Gardner Minshew in a Jacksonville versus LA clash. 8 offensive TDs in
He's
this one.
tossing it
Hope you
around.
had the over. And then the game that got flexed to Sunday night ended up being kind of one of the craziest. Seattle at Arizona, an overtime thriller. The DK Metcalf
Russ
touchdown.
versus Murray.
Oh, was
Wild.
that the Buda Baker like ran him down?
Yeah, no, that was when he had a sick, would have been a game-winning touchdown in overtime, called back with a holding.
Hold on the screen. 3rd and 10.
Yeah, Kyler had 360
balled out.
passing yards, and he had 67 rushing yards in that overtime win. Yeah. Russ had 389 yards passing.
Incredible.
Or 88, yeah.
One of our wildest games of the day. That was Sunday Night Football. And then we move into the witching hour.
Oh, yeah.
We touched on it earlier.
Now, can
Time to
you
dive a
say it
little
real
deeper.
quick? Real
We
quick.
move in. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the witching hour. When wins become losses and losses become wins. Buckle up.
Yes.
I am told that there are text threads around the world that say they alert each other. Scott just called it the witching hour. In other words, if you're doing laundry on Sunday, you're walking around the house and you've got it on in the background, sit your butt down. It's time to pay full attention.
And
it
I'm
never-
not talking Uncle Sam. We're talking Uncle Scott.
That's like getting it in.
TDs are coming.
It's like when that Amber Alert comes to your phone and it's vibrating.
Yeah, right.
Except this one you actually pay attention to.
Yeah, earthquake, hurricane. We went to Amber route.
Sorry.
You tell me when it never delivers, because it always does.
It always
does.
Oh,
What
Always.
determines it actually witching hour?
Well, what I kind of thought was when you get to
Like
the
what time? When?
It-
How?
we call it. We don't. There's not it's wristwatch this time.
just
it's
a
time to say.
feeling?
It's a feel. I'm always looking. The other thing I have the benefit of in the studio, I have the scoreboard up. We have one macro. We put it up on TV every once in a while. Like I'll say 8 games going on across the league, and you'll see the scores. Every one of those scores is tapped into the computerized into the actual scoreboard at Foxborough. It's synchronized there, so I see real time exactly. Where it is. If we have an 8-game early window, when 3 of them or 4 of them hit the fourth quarter, end of the third, I'm like, guys, we better call it the witching hour here in a second, because you're going to get, a fourth quarter will take 45 minutes to 60 minutes to play, and some of the other games are still in the third quarter. And it's by a feel. You just do it by feel. It's always when about half of the games are getting to the end of the third quarter.
Yeah.
And of course, it depends on how many incomplete passes there are, how many injuries, how many flags. Some games go faster than others, of course. But yeah, it's a feel. There's never like, oh, it's, 3:05. It's time to call it the witching hour.
Well, what makes it a great witching hour?
Chaos. Yeah. Chaos. Like,
Controlled
it's
chaos.
when it's a silly little catchphrase. When wins become losses, losses become wins. When I call it the witching hour this Sunday, I'm telling you, take a screenshot of your television when I call it, because the scoreboard will be up there.
It'll change.
And then you take a screenshot at the end of it, and you watch the bananas stuff. And it's like, it's stuff that just shouldn't happen. I mean, fourth quarter, keisters get tight, man, in the fourth quarter sometimes.
Now, did you ever think calling it wizard hour? What if we about like a wizard?
Well, the witching hour is like a colloquialism in the English language. So it's like, although it probably has some demonic, it probably has some demonic connotations, which I don't want to, whatever.
Yeah.
But like, it's witching hour is like the bizarre, the weird stuff, the wild stuff, the unexpected happens. And I'm like, okay, that kind of has a ring to it.
It does. It does.
By the way, other people claim that I stole it from them.
Like who?
Do you know Mike Francesa? Do you know that name?
Oh,
you guys know Mike
I
Francesa?
know Mike, yeah.
So Mike Francesa is in New York, famous longtime
Mob
sports mob guy. Probably that too.
Hey, he played one in Uncut Gems.
Was he in Uncut Gems?
Yeah, he was the bookie in Uncut Gems.
Famous sports talk radio host. Okay, in New York for years, and doesn't have his fastball, I don't think anymore. But anyway, when I started calling it the witching hour, and everyone started, saying, "Oh, Scott Hanson and the witching hour and Red Zone's the greatest," he went on a thing on his show, and it was like, yeah, you didn't. I can't do a Francesa, but he's got big, thick New York accent, right? And he thinks he knows everything. He's like, I used to call it. He used to work like as a behind-the-scenes guy on NFL Today, back with Brent Musburger and Jimmy the Greek, if you ever heard that name.
Jimmy the
That was
Greek.
before your time, but you guys might know. He says they used to call it the witching hour, not on television, which that's why I'm exempt from it, because I never heard any sports guy say it before.
No.
I'm not denying that they may have called it that, but they called it that behind the scenes. When they weren't on the air and they were just watching the games in the studio like you do, right?
Yeah.
You do the pregame and whatnot, then you just watch the games.
Yeah.
He says during that portion, when their mics were off and everything, they used to be like, "Oh, it's the witching hour." That's how Francesa sounds. And so, which is fine. I don't debate that, but don't act like I stole it, like I was supposed to know you and your buddies used to call it that. Look,
They just didn't.
like,
They didn't. It's
Success-
kind of like Velcro.
you know this one. Success has a million mothers, and failure is an orphan.
Yep.
Wise.
And so, yeah.
So then,
yeah.
do you remember your first
That's
witching
an
hour?
Uncle saying
Yeah,
right
because I
there.
didn't call it that from
Uncle Scott.
week one. I'm pretty sure I think we did the Octobox from week one. I used to just say, this time when it's the end of the third quarter, these games get bananas. And it's so much fun. And I'm like, and it happens in a 60 minutes of wristwatch time. I'm like, this is the greatest hour in sports television. It used to be like when you would have March Madness, the first day of March Madness, when they used to synchronize all the tip-offs. They don't. They stagger them now. But when they used to synchronize, you could you could get 3 buzzer beaters within 2 minutes, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
And that would have been a candidate for like the best hour in sports TV. And some people think whatever, maybe the final 3 holes of the Masters in a Tiger versus Phil situation might be the best hour in sports TV. Well, we've got it every single week. I don't need a championship necessarily to be won in that moment. It's every single week. You can guarantee, you can set your wristwatch by it, that the NFL's early window
It's true.
will deliver jaw-dropping moments, and you don't know where, you don't know which game, you don't know which players, but you know it's going to happen.
Know it.
So it was probably a few years in to NFL Red Zone's existence that I said, let's call it the witching hour. And then our coordinating producer, Alan Flowers, Flo, shout out to my guy Flo. He'd surprised me one day with that graphic. He didn't tell me he had the dong like the Undertaker, like the noise and whatnot.
Yeah.
And now that it's October,
Oh, it's
They put a witch's cackle in there in October. I
Got
think,
it.
too. So it's right.
Shout out Flo.
Incredible. So who makes the call that it's actual witching hours? Is
Yeah,
that
no.
you?
So like I said, we talk when my microphone is clipped. I'll say, hey guys, we got 2 games in the fourth quarter. Let's say it's an 8-game early window. We got 2 in the fourth quarter. If we get 1 or 2 more into the fourth quarter, we need to call it the witching hour.
You're muted talking to production.
I'm muted talking. Yeah.
Okay.
Anytime you don't hear me talking,
You're communicating.
assume that I am having conversation.
Still talking.
With yes. It's like coach to quarterback communication system.
yeah, it's
Like
it's
it
the
cuts
headsets.
off at times, but you could go. Except ours, of course, is 2-way.
It's more of the head coach with all the coordinators.
Oh, that's probably a better.
yeah, because the head coach has where
Override.
He can override everyone. He can talk on certain ones.
I bet you people don't know that. Explain that to people.
Yeah, so the head coach can talk to every single coach.
Can hit a button,
but
and
not
it-
every coach can talk to the head coach. You know, there's certain channels that they have. They'll have like a secret channel and like they'll hit. And
Now you were emergency QB,
I was
so you practice with the green dot every once in a while.
Nah.
No,
didn't
but
go
you
that
you
far.
obviously fiddled
Actually, we
around
did
with it
with
at some
Jacob.
point if you ever had to go in.
Huh?
You must have tried it at least once.
Yeah, the year
You
when
didn't
Jimmy
have them call
G-
plays into you in case you had to go in.
when Jimmy G got hurt.
Yeah,
And Jacoby Brissett came in, and Jacoby Brissett broke his thumb.
Yes.
That week 4, I practiced with the green dot.
Okay, so you've heard it.
I've
and
heard
you're-
it, yeah.
Yeah.
But it cuts off at 15.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although, do you know something about that? That's at least unless they changed it. When that first system was developed, I talked to someone. That's not automated. There's literally a human being pressing, and they're supposed to take their finger off a button, and it's like a neutral, supposedly neutral person up in the press box. Now, they probably have automated it, but I guarantee when I was a roving reporter 16, 17 years ago, I spoke to the guy who did it at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. He's like, I'm the guy, I have my whole job, the whole game is this. I press the button down, which means that
They can hear.
OC to quarterback is live, and I just watch the play clock, and when it gets down to 15, I'm supposed to take my finger off. And I'm like, well, bro, every once in a while, you must either,
Some home
that's
cooking.
not
Yeah.
foolproof.
Like the clock guy
We gotta
sometimes
check the-
throws his
And
second-
what's to
Minnesota
say that
Vikings
guy's
won.
not a? What's to say that guy's not a? He lives in Tampa. He's not a Buccaneers.
Really?
Homer, like,
I
oh, let
want
me
to
give
check
him
the
3
Minnesota
extra.
guy.
Why? Because you think like
Kevin O'Connell, remember he was calling plays for Dobbs, like telling him where to go while he was playing and stuff. Probably.
I gotta think it's automated now, but I
has to
know
be.
for a fact
That's
that
wild.
at least in that stadium in that time, it was a finger button from a neutral human being.
Wow.
What?
Incredible.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Can you describe your perfect, design your perfect witching hour?
Every game's in contention.
Yes.
That's-
Eight games, a full Octobox worth.
Octo.
8 games, and all 8 one-possession games. Because, you'll have a 35-10 game in the fourth quarter, and what we say offline is, hey, the Patriots game is touchdown only. Like, it's a 25-point difference between the teams in the fourth quarter. We know who's going to win that game, but if the Patriots score another touchdown, we'll show that, but it's touchdown only. If they're first and goal from the 8, we're not cutting to that game right now. If they score a touchdown, we'll show it afterwards, but it's not critical to see it live. The game's 35-10. So a perfect witching hour. 8 games going on across the National Football League. All 8 of them one-possession games, 8 points or less, and all 8 of them with less than 5 minutes left to go. Bring it.
And like
Bring
6
it.
lead chains.
Bring it.
15
And then
lead
and then
chains.
I want each team to score. I'm rooting for the team with the football.
Overs. We want overs. Overs.
Overs if you're
And
so
chaos.
inclined. But just touchdown, and then this quarterback answers with a touchdown, and then this quarterback answers with a touchdown, and then somebody
maybe a block punt in there.
they throw a block punt in there.
Is
throw
there a special teams
60-yard
guy in
field
your
goal.
ear? Like, hey, Scott, we just had a block punt there. Touchdown, dude.
Well, so you're talking to I told you I was a long snapper in college.
Yeah, you
So
got-
special
Teamer.
teams, all the
Teamer.
iterations of special teams, I try to stamp on everything. We had a drop kick onside kick. How
Yeah.
rare is that?
Wow.
A
How
drop
about that?
kick onside kick, and I saw
After a safety that didn't land in the correct landing zone.
including a muff recovered for a touchdown, which is extremely rare because you
'Cause
can't
it-
you can't advance a
advance
muff
unless it goes
It
in the
has
end
to
zone.
go in the end zone. You have to cover it. But if you muff a punt to get it into the end zone, either someone needs to kick it or you're fielding that sucker inside the 5-yard line, which is usually
Unless it's a gray area punt.
meaning.
Meaning if it's a plus 50 punt, the coverage team, you
They
have no
might be able to
chance.
catch it themselves.
I housed a 94-yard return because it was a gray area punt where they were punting
let
in
up.
their own territory, but it's close enough where they could get it there
Yep.
to like that inside the 5.
Yep.
But if the cushion's big enough,
Oh, I see. If the
yes,
gunners haven't
if
gotten
it's a
near
plus
you
50
yet,
punt where they're in your territory,
interesting.
you're never gonna have an opportunity
It's a-
unless they really overrun you.
I love it.
But if it's a gray area punt,
Yeah.
which is like you're 40,
Yep.
the other team's 40,
Yep.
you know, that's when you get those potential take from the 5s.
But you had better be right.
You better be
You're
right.
the only human being in
You
the
better be
stadium
right.
who can make that call.
You're the only one. Yeah.
Did you ever get a little over aggressive and Bill had words
What?
with you?
I didn't fair catch for like 4 years, Chris or Scott.
No, but I mean over aggressive meaning not fair catching, you know, when you should have and you got blasted, that's on you. But fair catch where you got blasted inside the 5-yard line and Bill ripped you a new one.
I did it once.
Because he doesn't care if you don't fair catch and you get tackled at the 22, you
No.
get smacked by the gunner. Whoa,
Yeah.
pop that. He doesn't care about that as long as you hold on to the football, but he does care if you start the offense on the 5-yard line.
Yeah, but that all gets
unnecessarily.
taken away if I housed one
Okay.
from the 6.
You get some capital
so
in the
I get
bank.
capital.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So after that, you get green light.
That green
Okay.
light,
You
baby.
get that
I
green
love
light.
it.
It's kind of like the little stud
How
kid.
did those calves get up and down that fast, up and down?
It's kind of like when you were at Little League and you were the one kid who could steal bases without a signal. Coach always say, you
Green
got
light.
the green light, kid.
Do you, Julian?
Just do you. Keith Crochane, R.I.P. is my little coach.
Should we put
Toss.
a bow on this
Let's
week
go,
7?
Jack. Let's
put a
see
bow
which
on this
hour.
thing with the witching hour.
Yeah.
10 lead changes. We go to Cincy for
That's the game.
The crazy one. 5 lead changes alone. So that's doing a lot of the heavy lifting for these witching hour lead changes.
Baker, man.
Look at the
Baker,
fourth quarter. Look at the
touchdown
fourth
maker.
quarter of the Browns-Bengals game. Look at the fourth
Unbelievable.
quarter scoring.
I bet you the
34 total
Browns
points.
could. They're wishing they had that right now.
Yep.
Since he goes up 34-31 with 1 minute and 8 seconds left, that's plenty of time for Baker to go 5 plays, 75 yards, just 55 seconds, finds Donovan Peoples-Jones for the game winner. Classic Baker Cleveland moment. Then down in Atlanta, we talked about that game a little bit. The infamous Todd Gurley accidental touchdown.
And it was a
Unreal.
10-yard run. It wasn't like he ran
No.
from the 3 into the end zone.
Yes.
He had 10 yards to be like, dude, throttle it down.
You could see him think about it in the run where he's like, oh shit,
And
I gotta get down.
the photo is just hilarious of him laying slightly over the goal line and
Oh.
all the Lions players putting their hands up like, he scored. Like, you
I
never see that.
remember we watched that this year right after this happened because Bill would always take situations from
Hey,
that went
look at
around
who
the
screwed
across the
this
league
up.
just to coach it.
Yeah.
You know, like, hey guys, this
Smart.
is why we call this situation
Yeah.
because this can happen. So, you know, it's about winning the game, not winning the stats.
Amen. And just to set the situation up for the viewers at home, Atlanta was trailing 16-14 with about 1 minute 8 seconds left. Just got to ice the game, as Scott mentioned earlier. Just got to get down to the one, get your kicker enough time. Detroit only had 1 timeout left,
Yeah.
so you're good there. But he gets in there, unfortunately. Then they go for 2, get the 2-point conversion, go from trailing 16-14 to now up 22.
Is that Dan Quinn?
22-16, sorry. I think so.
Ooh, I hope we don't see that this year at the Commanders.
I know.
Don't be because they're getting some leads now.
Dude.
They're getting some
Jane
leads.
Daniels.
Come on, Dan
Jane
Quinn. He
Daniels.
said he learned from his experience, folks.
Yeah, right?
He learned from his experience.
Don't make the same mistake twice.
But
Can't.
a la Baker, Stafford only needs 1 minute and 4 seconds to go down the field. Big play to Dola, big play to Kenny Galladay,
Yep.
And
then that
Hawkinson.
awesome walk off to Hawkinson.
Yeah.
Second year Hawkinson.
Who's a Viking now? It's crazy that he
Yeah.
went in division.
He should be coming back from injury soon, too,
Yeah,
I
next
think.
couple weeks,
Yeah,
right?
that was a shame. That his
ACL?
Love watching him.
Was
Yeah.
it ACL?
Yeah, it was a knee.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was ACL, but it was a
late
knee.
last year.
Yeah.
And then the last star of our witching hour down there in Nolans, one of those classic Teddy Bridgewater, Drew Brees matchups.
Teddy Two Gloves.
That was a 27-24 win. Will Lutz field goal was 17.
Who was the quarterback for the
7-16.
Panthers?
It was Teddy Bridgewater.
And who was the quarterback for the Saints?
Drew Brees.
Yeah, Breeze.
Breeze was still there.
One of those
Who, by the way,
classics.
we have a still photo of Breeze on a quarterback sneak over the
He
top.
loved doing that.
No, that was his move, but TB12 was the greatest.
best.
What made him so good at it? Brady was, I mean, obviously physically gifted. I mean, he's a tall guy. You could say that. He's got some strength. But he just knew exactly where the soft spot was going to be.
Because he would read if...
He would go submarine. He would go over the top. He would go left. He would go right.
I think it was a team thing with all our centers, with Andrews, Stork, Conley,
Sure.
all our guards. Like, they knew they had a great formula where, like, I remember Scarnecchio always used to say, when our quarterback's in the jaws of death, that's what he used to call the quarterback sneak, the jaws of death. You fucking guys better protect them. Like, it was all of
You
them.
had better be moving
Yes,
forward.
you got to
Yeah.
move forward. And he would always just see the gap.
Yeah.
And it was like he had free reign to do it at any time.
Okay.
So, like,
With
sometimes
a tap on the butt or
Yes,
whatever, first
yes.
sound. Yeah.
So there's a lot of those as well.
Where are you at on tush push, brotherly shove?
Learn how to stop it, guys.
Amen.
It's
Amen.
football.
Yep.
You got to learn how to stop it.
Yep.
You can't take that play out.
Yep. Especially because no one else in the league runs it as effectively as they
Yeah.
do. If everyone was doing it,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, wait, the game is getting out of control here. We might need to tighten this down. No, they do it special.
And they've been stopped.
They have been.
They have been stopped.
They got a couple neat counters off of it too.
Yeah,
Have you
the
seen
little
some of those
where they got the guy zipping across and they give the little
wing
Yeah.
handoff, whatever you call
I
it.
mean, that's football.
Yeah.
Keep going, Jack.
Okay. Yep.
Oh, and then finally down there in New Orleans, we talked about a field goal from Will Lutz with 7:16 left in the game would prove to be the game winner, 27-24. But Joey Sly lined up for a 65-yarder,
Go
with just
Hokies.
over 2 minutes left.
Joey
Missed
big
it.
leg.
But he had a big one last week against San Fran. Kind of
60,
the,
he had a 63-yarder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was it 63?
63,
That
which was
was
the old
64?
NFL record.
How crazy is the kicking off topic right now?
Dude, it's
It's
unbelievable.
almost 55 plus more. They're more accurate than they are. They get heady with the 40s to 52s.
I've got it over here. I'm sure I've got, I mean, the 50 plus yarders, like literally, like I say, I'm prepared for anything. Going into last week, we had Kaimi Fairbairn was 6 of 7 from 50 plus. Brandon Aubrey was 5 of 5 from 50 plus, including a 65-yarder that he hit. I think Aubrey's the best kicker in the game. I think he's passed Justin
Yeah,
Tucker.
he's killing it.
Just this season,
Tuck's
Tucker's had a
got
couple
the
of
yips.
hiccups.
He got
He's got a
the
couple of
yippies right now.
Yep. But I mean, they're insane. These guys, 50 yarders, it's like
Even the college guys are like knocking home 58
there are
yarders
a
like
lot of
nothing.
good college
Yeah.
kickers. Yeah.
That's what happens when you got IMG.
Yeah, right. It's
Throwing
down
these
there
little-
training
they're
these
throwing kids that are
training
12
these
years old to
legs.
be pro kickers at like.
That's good
all right, you're
living.
going-
If you can last in the league 12 to 15 years as a kicker, that's good living.
It's good living. It is. Right now they're making, what's the highest guy make? Probably like 6 mil, 7 mil?
Yeah, I think Butker signed a contract in the offseason and is the highest paid kicker. Yeah.
Of course. Jackie?
Yep. You want to run through this aftermath?
Yes.
Our witching hour teams will focus on those guys. Cleveland would make the playoffs at 11-5. Cincinnati would finish 4-11 in Burrow's rookie season. New Orleans would go on to win the NFC South at 12-4. But we all know who came out of that division and won the Super Bowl, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Ooh.
Carolina would finish 5-11, as would Detroit. The Washington football team won the NFC East at 7-9, baby. First time winning that division since 2015. And as we mentioned earlier, Tom and Gronk would win a Super Bowl down there in Tampa in their home stadium.
You had to be
beating the
rooting
Chiefs.
for them.
I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was. Now, who out of that this week of Red Zone, out of all the players that we've seen on different teams, who has surprised you the most now?
Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield, because the Browns are in what appears to be quarterback wasteland. And Baker's one of the highest rated passers through the first month of the season. He showed flashes of it even when he went, brief flashes when he went to Carolina, then he went to the Rams and now with Tampa Bay. But he's found a home there. He signed a 3-year, $100 million contract this last offseason or whatever. He's got 2 stud wide receivers.
Continuity.
They're a force to be reckoned with, and he's playing good football. And then the folks in Cleveland have got to watch that on Red Zone every Sunday. And Baker just threw another 3-touchdown game. Boy, if we could only get a guy like this, I would say he probably is. He's the most surprising. Why? Did you have a candidate?
No, it's just crazy to think about, watching the Cleveland Browns watch Baker Mayfield in a Buccaneers uniform, right? When they were probably saying, man, we see him on commercials so much in our uniform. At that time, he was in every commercial.
He was.
You know, it's been awesome to watch him reboot his career and find a landing spot. And you saw in this specific game, I remember we watched these games earlier, and it's the same Bake that we're watching right now, competitive, makes a play on that third down when the team needs it.
He'll run for
sloppy for a little while.
He gets a little loose.
He gets a little loose, but like when it comes to nut cutting time, the guy, the moment doesn't look too big for him ever.
Yeah.
Even if the moment is too big for him.
Yes.
He's confident.
He loves doing it. He's like,
loves.
I want to be the guy at that moment.
You know, I
that
think
has to
that's
rub
cool.
off.
Yeah, it does. And the whole thing between him and Brady, I think, has been funny.
Yeah, that was weird.
That was fun.
And Brady broadcasted that game on Sunday.
I know.
Very weird.
I know. Did you hear what he said?
That's on
Wait, what Baker said or what Brady,
said?
And then Bill jumped in too.
Afterwards?
Yeah, Brady said on air, he goes, you know, if I wanted to have fun, I'd bring my kids to Disneyland or something like that.
I know. I think I did hear that
I
one.
think it's more stressful not having rings than that's what he said.
And then Bill jumped in too.
What did Bill say?
What
Bill said?
Just the same, like winning is fun.
Yeah.
We
Did
had
you mind
fun
if I
winning a
said
lot of
something about
championship games.
Tom? Did you see that Tom and I had a little thing at the beginning of the season? Did you guys see this?
No.
No.
This is the first time I'm addressing it
Yeah,
on
what
a
happened?
podcast or a show. By the way, I love Tom. He's my single favorite football player.
Yeah.
I
Michigan
respect
guy.
greatness, and he is the GOAT, and GOAT is way overused.
Michigan too.
Michigan quarterback and whatnot, and Tom, he loves NFL RedZone, and whenever we see each other, we dap each other up and stuff. So his first game broadcasting, week 1, Cowboys at Browns, and Brandon Aubrey, the kicker we mentioned earlier, they were going to let him try a 70-yard field goal. 70, right? The NFL record is 66.
Offsides penalty fucked
And
it up.
it did, right? And they almost thought, oh, let's give him a 75.
They
I mean,
almost
come on.
tried it.
Anyway, but 70-yard, they were going to line up. And Kevin Burkhardt, his broadcast partner on Fox, was like, this is crazy and whatnot. And Tom was kind of more like even keeled. Like he was like, well, you better make sure that you have a return man back there, you know, for the Browns so that if he misses short, they can return it out of there. We had to cut to a different game because they had called timeout before the kick. So I said, oh, man, Tom's got to get more excited than that. That's going to be a 70-yard field goal. That's all I said. And if Tom was sitting here, I would have said, hey, Tom, get a little excited about this, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, by me saying that, I opened myself up to be the poster boy for all these basement keyboard warriors that said, Tom sucks as a broadcaster after 1 week. So the New York Post, the New York Times, I believe, every website that covers, there's like, Scott Hanson thinks Tom Brady's not any good. Just by me saying, oh, Tom, you got to get excited like that. And I was so disappointed. The media is going to do what the media is going to do. I was so disappointed because I did not want Tom to think I disrespected him. So I put an apology out on Twitter because I said my comment in public.
Yeah.
And I just said I miscalculated as to how they would use me saying something about Tom in his first game.
Yeah.
The dude's excellent at whatever he puts his mind to. He's going to be excellent at broadcasting. And he's gotten better each week, by the way. But I allowed myself to be thrust into that point. And Tom saw it and he replied to it. He said, all good. He called himself a rookie, which was very self-deprecating.
He knows
and
that, though.
And he does. But I just wanted to say that because I want the public to know that, like, you're going to judge someone doing something. What we do is hard. You've learned that
Very hard.
in the years that you've now been involved here. What we do is hard. And Tom knows more football than 99.999% of the people that have ever walked the face of the earth. And yet, knowing it and being able to disseminate it in 20-second snippets in between this, in circumstances, in an environment you've never really, it's hard. It's going to take a little while. Anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you for letting me vent and whatnot. But because I think he's going to be great at it, and I love the guy. If people don't understand, they think Tom Brady thinks if Tom Brady was sitting right here, I mean, first of all, he knows you and he knows me a little bit, but you know, you guys are buddies. Like, he's actually, for being a mega star, he's about as unaffected as a mega star can be. And I've been around some big Hollywood types that do think that they're the greatest thing walking the earth. Tom knows he's Tom Brady, but he's a dude. He's a good guy.
But he also knows he's a first-time broadcaster.
In this world, yes.
And he knows that.
Yes.
And you know, that's why he probably didn't pop back, because he understands that he's not going to be the same person week 1 that he's going to be in week 18 because he's learning as he goes. And, he's a normal dude that is kind of dorky. I've said that like 3 times on like 4 podcasts, but it's the truth. And you feel that because he's so human and he's so humble.
Yeah.
Around
He is.
people.
Yes.
He is. He's got an aura.
Yeah.
Jackie, legacy of this bad boy.
I think the legacy is one of the craziest witching hours of all time. 10 lead changes.
Is it
in
the
witching
most?
hour.
We don't count them like that. We probably should.
I think we need a count guy.
Thank you for bringing
someone
that
out
up.
there in the comment section. We need for you to go over all these witching hours.
We count every touchdown though. By the end of the season, you usually see
I
about
see the
1,000
touchdown.
touchdowns.
Yeah.
Well, we at the end of every
replay.
show.
I watch. That's
yeah,
what I like watching that too. That's
the touchdown montage. we
yeah,
call
because
it.
then for like broadcasting.
Yep.
It's always good. I watch all the highlights and I watch every touchdown, so then you can pull from when I'm talking about that touchdown.
Fans love it.
And I love when you guys throw out your stats too, because I steal some stats from you. I'll steal a couple stats from Scott.
Hey, you got to steal from the best, baby. And then one last one, Scott. We're such football guys here in the Nut House.
Yeah.
And you are like in the God tier pantheon. Not to sound trite or cliche here, but can you describe what football means to you?
Sure. Football is the greatest sport on the planet for a few different reasons. I hosted the Olympics this summer. I don't know if you guys saw that. I hosted Gold Zone for the Paris Olympics.
Watched it.
As it relates to football, the strongest athletes on the planet, pound for pound, are Olympic powerlifters. I would venture to say the next strongest group of athletes on the planet are NFL linemen, defensive, offensive linemen. The fastest athletes on the planet are Olympic sprinters that specialize in one thing, running 100 meters in shorts and a tank top, straight down a thing. I would venture to say the next fastest group of athletes on the planet are the fastest NFL wide receivers and defensive backs. And you could go down the list. Highest jumpers, right? Oh, okay, Olympic jumpers or NBA player. Give me a 48-inch vertical leap from some insane wide receiver. The athleticism is off the charts. And the teamwork that it takes to put together at the NFL level with the margins being this small, life is competition. Life's going to try and stop you from doing stuff that you want to do. And the NFL is the highest level of a group of incredibly talented men and incredibly talented men who have coordinated with brilliant coaches to do one thing over 60 minutes, and let's find out who comes out on top. Man, that's freaking delicious. Besides that, playing the game of football formed my personality. The toughness, the dedication, the teamwork, the sacrifice, the stick-to-itiveness you've got to have be a football player at any level. You know this, and maybe I'm preaching here. I mean it, Jules.
Preach.
I mean it. Football it shapes character. It shapes human beings, and it transcends just wins-loss on a scoreboard or a witching hour or whatever else. And I love the game. That's what football means.
Let's go.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, I'm going to put my head through a goddamn
Me
window
too.
right
Got me
now.
so fired up.
This is your house. Don't do that.
Any leftovers, Jackie?
Leftovers?
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
How much do wives hate you? Because my wife certainly hates you.
Okay, no, first of all, there are many, many beautiful, wonderful female football fans who love NFL Red Zone as much as y'all.
Lot.
There are.
Check the numbers.
However, there are a sub-segment of society that I affectionately refer to as Red Zone widows.
Ooh. Red Zone
They
widow.
do not have a husband
This
for
guy-
7
we got
straight
catchy
hours.
phrases for everything.
I mean, I talk for a living, Jules.
You're freaking good, dude. You're freaking good.
Oh my gosh.
Red Zone widows, and I did an autograph signing one time. So people are lining up, we're doing autograph signing, and this old guy comes up. He had to be in his 70s, something like that, and he's like, "Hey, Scott, I love Red Zone. It's a great way to watch." "Oh, thank you. Okay, your name's John, too, John." Scott Hanson. And this woman comes from back of the line, and she looks about 70-something years old, and she gets up next to this guy, and she's like wondering what her husband's doing, and she looks down she looks at me, she looks at the picture that I'm signing of me, and she looks at my name, and she goes, "Oh, is that him?" And I'm like, "You must be a Red Zone widow." And
Heloise,
he started laughing.
be quiet in front of him.
Betty.
Eloise.
It's witching hour.
So yes, there is that. But like I said, there are couples that red zone together stay together, and there are husbands and wives, boyfriends and
I
girlfriends.
think we need a reality TV show. The Red Zone couple
Spin-off,
love.
red zone relationship counseling.
I love it. We might be onto something here.
Strife at the beginning of the Octobox, and by the end of the witching hour,
the
they're back in
touchdown
the
montage.
NFL Wed Zone.
Red Zone. He's thought about this. He's thought about this.
Hey, if it makes dollars,
It makes sense.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Heck yes.
We'll be right back after this quick break.
Hey, it's Rob Gronkowski here, and I'm with my bro, or my dude, Jules.
And we are super excited to tell you about our new show, Dudes on Dudes.
We're just regular dudes as well. Sometimes we can't read, sometimes we can't speak properly, but that's what dudes do. But Dudes on Dudes, seriously, who named this? Anyways, we're spilling all the behind-scenes stories, crazy details, and honestly, just having a blast talking football.
Every week, we're discussing our favorite players of all times, from legends to our buddies to current stars.
And the best part, we're finally answering the age-old question. What kind of dudes are these dudes?
Is Travis Kelce a stud or a freak? Is Tom Brady a dog or a dude's dude? We're going to find out. Every episode drops every Thursday during the NFL season.
Those are some good questions right there, Julian. We're going to find out soon. And watch us on YouTube. Listen wherever you listen to podcasts. And of course, follow us all over social media.
So hit that subscribe button, follow us everywhere, and join the dude party.
You don't want to miss this.
Dudes on Dudes. Let's go.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Let's name this game.
what is this? What do we got
So
here?
we got to
Okay.
name and score the witching hour,
Yep.
dude.
Yep.
So we named the game, score the game, presented by Jameson. Is this the greatest game of all time? Let's score it. What's the name of the game? Is it the Witching Week, the greatest witching hour of all time, the witchiest witching hour, the GWHOAT?
Greatest witching hour of all time. The
Groat.
Groat.
The
The
Groat.
Groat.
I think this is the Gwoat Week.
I like Groat.
We're going with the Gwoat.
I love it.
You cool with it?
Let's do it.
I think
this
the
is
Gwoat-
yours. This
yeah.
is your grade.
Okay. Give it the Groat.
The Gwoat. Is this the greatest game of all time? Let's score it. Presented by Jameson. Stakes 0 to 10. The stakes of this
Okay.
week's week 7
Stakes-
witching hour.
I would give that your favorite score a 7.9.
Ooh, 7.9.
Maybe even less. I mean, whatever. You said my catch was. So look, it's not playoff time. My favorite episode of the year usually is either week 1 when we're back and
Back.
it just feels so good.
And
or
there's a lot of crazy shit that happens.
it does
at the
because you
end of
don't
the
know.
games.
Guys don't
know each other. I agree.
Or week 18. Used to be
100.
week 17 because everything's being clinched.
Yeah.
Everything from the last
Seeding.
wild card seeding is being, this team's going to not play their starters. This team is. You even have the number 1 pick in the draft could switch hands during the
Yes.
witching hour,
Yeah.
and the teams on the back half. So this week 7, didn't have the highest stakes of all time.
I want to throw in week 17 now into their hat in the ring just because it's fantasy football championship.
Oh, that's a good point. Second to last week of the year, fantasy football championships. That's usually huge as well. Yeah.
I'll give it a 7.
Yeah, I think that's probably wise. It wasn't that big. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
No, that's I probably should have
Russian
gone lower.
judging.
Jack had a
5.0.
5.0.
I
had
just
a
wanted to demonstrate
4.1.
that I was listening to Julian earlier in the podcast when he said 7.9.
I like
Uncle
There it
Scotty
is.
Like
can't
it.
get none by him.
Star power.
Star power.
Oh.
0 to 10 decimals. Okay. A lot of stars. We had Bert,
Literally the entire NFL.
Herbert,
Yeah.
Baker when he was a Brown.
9. I mean,
Matt Ryan.
There was because my guy Jules got hurt in this game. I got to give it a 9.5.
Yeah, it was a
Because
9.5.
it would have been a 10, but it was your last game, and I gotta knock that week down a
My
little
guy.
bit because we did not see you after that. I'm still bitter about it.
Oh,
Although thankful to be with you now.
man, he's a very heartful guy. I'm gonna go with a 6.
Explain that.
Well, there's a lot of stars right here, but it is week 7. I want to see the stars when they're doing like astronomical
Okay.
type things. And
Oh, okay.
gotta have
But is
it
that
type
not a
situation.
stakes conversation?
Nah, but it's still
Yes.
The
stars were
star
in
is
the-
not a real. The star is just it's like a supernova still. It's
Star
just
power
being
can be
born. The star
amplified
is
in
really
the
coming.
moment?
A star is
Okay.
born.
Has anyone ever tried to convince
A
you?
star is born.
Shout out Bradley Cooper.
in the playoffs and in the later weeks.
Has anyone tried to convince you after you scored it? Because let me just say who we had in here. We had, and these guys all threw for more than 300 yards passing. Joe Burrow went for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. Russell Wilson, Tom
Russell
Brady.
Wilson's on the bench.
Tom Brady, heard of him.
He's calling games.
Yep. Here were the 300-yard passers. You're going to laugh at a couple. Kyler Murray, Carson Wentz threw for 3 bills.
Kyler, I think there's a Call of Duty dropping soon. Keep going. Carson Wentz
with Philadelphia.
Don't even know where he's at.
With Philadelphia at the time. Justin Herbert, young pup, threw
Can
for
we get an ankle?
347. Matthew Stafford, who we discussed.
Dog.
Matt Ryan.
Win with the mariachi.
CBS.
Deshaun Watson, when he used to know how to play football, threw for 309 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then young Josh Allen did as well.
There is a lot of stars.
So Jack did 7.5. I did 8.1.
Solid.
It's literally everyone. But
Okay.
there is a
just trying.
magnifier in big moments. I agree with that.
I think it magnifies. And then
okay.
also star power. We've done Super Bowls. We've
Yeah.
done historic crazy where you got Whitney Houston doing the
That adds to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
that makes sense. Yep.
right
yep,
now we got like
Yep.
we got Pop Warner at the halftime show.
I think
playing
Menudo
games right now.
was the halftime act of the Browns Bengals game. That you guys don't even know who Menudo
No, I know.
is.
I think you're talking more about stars per capita. And I think because all the games are at time, the stars per capita is low.
It's not as concentrated. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
can get on board with
A
that.
constellation of stars.
The
It was more-
gameplay. Now this is where you make up your
Okay.
points.
Well, duh.
This is where you make up your points.
Because if you grade one game, if you grade whatever, any of the Patriots Super Bowl wins, especially the tight ones that you guys had.
most of them, they're all
Yeah, that's
all
true.
tight.
Yeah. I got to give it a 9.9 just because you always got to have room for improvement. But
Always.
9.9, the
Okay.
lead changes, the insanity that we see is stellar.
I mean, it's a 9.
Okay. Wow.
9.
How often does he give a 9?
Not often.
Yeah.
9's very
it's
high.
a standard.
Respect.
It's standard for championship game for stakes for me.
Kyler and I lowballed at 7.0 and 7.5.
I think I'd
Bite
call those
your
a
tongue.
I think I'd call that a fair
Russian
score.
judges
A
over
fair
here.
score.
Big time Russian
I mean, hold
judges,
on.
I'm sorry.
The game we talked about the most ended from like lack of situational awareness. That's not great gameplay. That's just not knowing when to go down.
But gameplay from a fan, from a viewer's
From
perspective
a viewer
is what I'm
perspective,
doing.
okay.
The
I think
entertainment
that's
value.
fair. I think that's fair.
Yeah, the tightness of the game. In fact, the T. Higgins Cincinnati Bengals touchdown, 3 Browns had the worst tackling on that play. That it was like whatever.
But it was great TV. It was great.
It was great TV.
Okay. I
Now
agree
you
with
gotta-
that. I agree with that.
Kai guy. Oh, see, he just don't. He gets crabby sometimes. Watch out for him. Now we got to score the name of the game, the GWOAT.
The greatest witching hour
Pretty
of all
darn good.
time.
It's a great game. That's a great name.
That is a great name. I'll give it a 9. 9.0.
Solid.
I'll give it a
I'm like way overgrading it because I'm involved with all of it.
See, that's why I go
to.
low.
You got to.
Yeah.
8-1.
8-1. So Jack.
Whoa!
Hold on. So
I
this is
scored it
before.
I knew the name.
This is before we knew the name.
Well, then fix
Yeah,
it.
we got to rescore this.
Yeah.
I got to bump these numbers way up. These are rookie numbers.
So I'm gonna go. I love greatest witching hour of all time. I actually might go crazy.
9.1 for me.
I go 8.1.
I love it.
Where does it? All right, let's do the magic math and see where it stands along.
Calculating.
Yeah. What's the greatest?
7.86.
Let's see.
7.68.
Let's see where it stacks up against the rest of the games.
7.68. It puts us at 34th between the can't wait game 2011 AFC divisional round Jets versus Patriots, who we did with Rich Eisen,
Yeah.
and the Tuna Bowl, just below the Tuna Bowl, Jets Patriots in 1997, which we did with
Okay.
Bears and Jaron.
That's
a good spot for
company.
Falcons Patriots #1. What happened in that game? It was,
I don't know. It was just a little engine that
that's a
thought
good
he
list there,
could.
gentlemen. That is a good list.
Man, Scott, did we miss anything?
I don't think so, bro. We covered everything.
Man, you are awesome. You got
Yeah.
anything to plug? RedZone, everyone, go watch it.
Yeah, I think people have heard of it. Believe it or not, there are still some people who hit me up on Twitter, on X, or Instagram saying, I watched RedZone for the first time today.
What
I
rock have
can't
they been
believe
living
it.
under?
You know what that?
Like,
you know what that
man.
means? Another viewer.
Growth
right,
industry.
baby.
Growth industry.
So you got Scott, I learned so much from here. This interview, not only of how cool of a guy you are and how you take your craft, you put a lot of time into it. But for me as a broadcaster in my field, like just watching all your preparation, like I've learned a lot just that I'm gonna take going forward, preparing for my shows when I have to do, Fox Kickoff in the morning or even my shows here. You're a real standout dude.
I appreciate
you work your tail off. You've been doing it since the beginning. We appreciate you coming in the Nut House. This has been so fun because a lot of people ask for you, in the comment sections.
Always,
and
yeah.
in our we have a hotline and we have emails and all this stuff. People are like, you got to get Scott on. You got to get Scott on. And it's been such an awesome experience to have you here, man. I appreciate you coming in.
Well, you're 100% welcome. Thank you for having me. I told you I watched this show.
Yes.
Coming in, and I was like, what would it be like to sit there next to big calves at some point, and it was a great experience.
In the Nut House.
Appreciate you. And no fire alarm went off during this.
No fire alarm, baby. Thank you, Scott.
You got it.
Man, that was an awesome show. He's got energy.
One of our few guests that has come with materials, came prepared.
So who are the materials guys? Scott
Pioli, Ernie
Ernie
Adams,
Adams.
Scott Hanson,
Now Scott Hanson.
He also brought like
the Holy Trinity.
media as well too. He like pulled me when he first got here. Like pulled me aside. He's like, I want to surprise Jules. I got some stuff, and I was like, oh my god, what could this possibly be?
My guy was on it. You could
Absolutely incredible.
tell. You could tell he's probably like all out gun ho at workplace. Like, all right, guys, let's go. We got this. But he's fucking good too.
Dialed in.
Dialed.
In.
I wanted to tell him. I didn't want to glaze him up too hard though. Like he could have been a Patriot with that mindset.
He
Could have been one of us.
Could have been. You could have been.
Hey, long snapper.
Hey,
The more you can
more
do.
you can
the more you can do, baby. He was dropping the patriotisms.
He's fucking awesome.
patriotisms.
The funny thing, we didn't really. He always talks about like peeing, and it's a conversation that's on every time he does media.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't really touch it too much, but the funny thing is, as soon as the show wrapped, literally everyone ran to the bathroom.
I had to pee the first 10 minutes
Oh
of
my
him
God.
doing it.
I was tapping Kyler on the
actually
shoulder.
thinking, half the time I was thinking of a joke, a way out where I could be like, hey, man, mind if I go use the bathroom?
Bro.
But then I was thinking, like, this guy doesn't piss for 7 hours. I can't even not pee for the first 10 minutes of the fucking thing. So I held that whole I Scott Hansen'd that whole episode.
Dude, say my eyes were turning yellow halfway through. Like it was insane. I was tapping Kyler. Gotta go to the bathroom.
Did you see
Gotta go to
me
the bathroom.
changing up my fucking thing?
Yes, bro.
Like I was like this.
I thought you were just
trying to-
adjusting the piece.
No, dude, I was trying to clinch the piece. I was clinching the piece.
Oh my God. Bro, we gotta come up with maybe in the future a high sign for we gotta go pee. Like some sort of like
Or we could just we gotta dial our routine like fucking Scott.
get them olives on
Some
deck.
olives
We gotta
last
get some
night.
olives.
I mean, we were very dehydrated yesterday. That's just because we played golf. in
That's
100
true.
degree
Oh my
weather.
God. Heat stroke central.
Oh my
Jack
God.
almost
Jesus.
died.
I literally like fight through fatigue. Tough for 18, baby. But holy smokes, that was tough. I've never been that hot in my life.
It was hot. It's hot as
Christ
catfish
almighty.
grease out there. In October, you thought it was gonna be
I was like, oh, I got my wind shirt. I came out with a wind shirt on. Like I thought it'd be a little breezy. Holy smokes, was I wrong? Oh my God. I still
but you
still
hit
broke
him.
50 on the front nine.
You hit him.
Hit him. Still posted. Putting up scores. We're driving fairways, hitting, I think it was like 14 of 18 fairways. Short but straight. Can't be mad at that.
Hey,
You know what?
Jack knows his game.
Hey,
That shit is straight as an arrow.
you know they say Sabrina Carpenter, short and sweet. Jack's golf game, short and
Hey,
straight.
he's short king out there.
That's
man.
right, baby.
He's short king.
Lotion
out there.
salesman around the green. We got to be. And your guys' games were looking great. I mean, they're always consistent.
No, I look terrible.
I don't know. You guys were bombing them. You know what I was thinking halfway through this episode, too? Scott's dad must have loved him on road trips as a kid. Never asking us to pull over and go pee.
Yeah, but he's also never stopped talking either.
Hey, Dad, what is that? Hey, Dad, what's this? Hey, Dad, can we stop there? Hey, Dad.
Hey, Dad, want to play the license plate?
That's how I was.
Where's that license plate?
with my dad.
Road trips with Frank sound awesome.
Mom used to make me sit in the front sometimes to shut me up.
You and Jason going at it.
Oh my God! I told what story did I tell? Who did?
Oh, Nikki
with Nikki
Glazer.
Glazer.
Oh, Nikki.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
coming up.
Yeah.
All right, you guys.
Well, it's already out.
it's already out.
I think, yeah, because I was like, oh, yeah, and Nikki. I think she thought I was talking about her, but yeah, it was you, Nikki, and Jason.
Man. Well,
awesome.
It's time for a toast, guys. Whether you're celebrating, commemorating, or just kicking back, it's always better to have a glass of Jameson Irish whiskey. Yeah. You can't pour me some Jameson without making a nice toast.
I got you, brother.
So we're gonna do a little bit of a toast segment here.
Oh,
Yeah,
Hey, show the camera my this fire merch I'm rocking.
he's the Jack Leprechaun.
What's up, Johnny Jameson? Johnny Jameson here.
Perfect Irishman.
Full. Yeah. That's right,
Last
baby.
name couldn't be any more Irish.
That's right, baby.
But I before we go into this segment and actually do this toast, I want to say what Jameson is doing about trying to like unofficially get an NFL international game to Dublin.
It's crazy that it's not there.
It's
I know.
so
We
cool.
played college games.
Yeah, so many college games.
Is that? I know we shouldn't talk about this in this, but is that like England, Ireland?
Always
some of
trying
that
to keep
stuff?
us down, bro.
Is there politics in that?
Maybe.
I didn't even think of it that way. But
Or
you
the
might be right.
Scottish over there doing some shit. I don't know. I got to get caught up through a show. When I get like, I learned Monarch through Crown. So if there's a show with like Scottish,
Where's Peaky
Ireland,
Blinders?
and all that other
England, I
stuff,
think?
Yeah.
I'll be dialed up. But until then, I don't understand the beef,
You gotta
or
watch-
maybe it could be the beef.
You should watch Dairy
Where's
Girls.
the beef?
Dairy Girls is awesome on Netflix.
Dairy Girls?
Super fucking funny. Yeah, it's like 3 seasons, like 6 episodes each. It's super hilarious. It
So
takes
without
place in-
further ado, I propose a toast
Yeah.
to
Charlie-
get this goddamn game that we love, that we literally talk about, that we dream about, to a land of people that we think is very, very green over there. But little do they know, they grown. Football to Ireland.
here.
Football to Dublin.
Toast the football Ireland.
Football
Toast to
Dublin.
football in Ireland.
And then we're actually gonna do
Heck
things
yes.
we're grateful for.
Oh
Right,
man,
guys.
it's so good when it tastes your lips. Tastes so good when it touch your lips.
Frank the
All
Tank.
right, Jack, what's your toast? To?
Okay.
Oh, we got our own toast?
We do a little own ones.
Okay.
Anyways, I propose a toast, boys. I got 3 here. Monday night football doubleheaders. Let's keep them going all season. They make the worst day of the week kind of like the best day of the week. 2 on Monday night. It's such a nice little surprise. And another toast to the guy that updates athletes' IMDb pages for the big games they play in as if they were credits in a movie. Like Danny Amendola playing on Thursday Night Football as Self. Or maybe Danny Amendola being a participant in Super Bowl 51 as New England Patriots wide receiver. And he was in 13 episodes of NFL on CBS.
He's also
Shout out
in
to
an
that
episode
guy.
of Ballers.
He's also in an episode of Ballers.
Ballers.
And he's adding to it with Dancing with the Stars.
Dancing with the Stars.
But I just love that guy who's updating those pages as if it was as if he was an actor and this was his resume. His resume, yeah. I like that guy.
His oeuvre. if
His
you
oeuvre.
will.
Shout out to that guy. And lastly, to my man Will Levis. We had pocket passers. We got mobile quarterbacks. We got gunslingers. But he's our first meme quarterback. He's a gift that keeps on giving. Week in and week out, he outdoes himself. Here's to you, Will.
Here's to you, Will. Mayonnaise and all.
Do you want to go or shall I go?
I'm going to keep it short and sweet,
I love
boys.
it.
I'm going to keep it short and sweet. You even played just the tip over there with it. Just the tip.
Teasing.
Gotta get one out for Dola. He's on Dancing with the Stars.
Damn right, baby.
This freaking guy never seen him dance a day in his life. Now he's over here like goddamn Patrick Swayze and Dirty Dancing out there. Doing the foxtrot, the merengue, the tango, whatever the fuck it is. He's doing it. He did a backflip.
Oh, my God.
He did a backflip off the stage. Where the fuck did this knee strength come from? The guy could barely run routes. Now he's Patrick Swayze. So this one's to Danny.
To Danny.
Go vote.
We love you, Dola.
You can vote 10 times.
Vote,
Danny.
vote,
Oh, I wish-
early and often.
Damn, Daniel.
We'll put the text on the screen.
Damn, Daniel.
Where's your fine ass?
Dola.
All right, what's your toast, Kyler?
I've got some obscure sports things that we never touch. I want to give a toast to.
Oh my God, I just saved. Oh my God.
What
Talk
reflexes?
about one
What
of the greatest
reflexes?
catches of all time. I'm raw dogging cup with no freaking paper towel in there. Almost dropped, snagged it with my hook. Look at the under thing.
Shout out to the
snagged it with the hook on the bottom so it didn't get all over this beautiful suede couch. And there's a lot of dip spit in here.
Captain Hook.
Could be the catch of my life. Back to your toast, Kyler.
So I want to give a shout out to some obscure sports that we don't cover here on Games with Names. Professional cycling specifically.
Shout
My
out.
guy, Teddy Pogacar. Has one of the most incredible seasons in professional cycling history. He won the Giro d'Italia, won 6 stages, killed it. He won the Tour de France, won another 6 stages. Could have won 7, but won 6.
Wait, so
killed
what's
it.
that mean if you win 6 or 7?
So the Grand Tours, it's a one race, but there's 21 days. So they do 20 stages. And so there's 20 races inside the one race. So he won the individual race 6 times inside of the big race. So
Did he win the big race?
He won the big race by a lot. And he won 6 individual stages in that, the Giro d'Italia, which is highly regarded as the second best professional cycling race.
So is that like winning against, like, say we were playing the Jets, we beat them, it's a division win, it's like 2 points in the, but then they have a tiebreaker or something. I don't know.
No, it's like winning the Giro d'Italia is like winning like the PGA, like the PGA Championship, right?
Okay,
it's
yeah,
like, it's
yeah.
a major.
All of it.
It's like there's 3 majors. It's one of the majors, highly regarded the second. He also did the exact same thing for the Tour de France. Won his 3rd Tour de France of his career. Won 6 stages, absolutely killed it. And then to top it off, he also just won World Championships, the individual one-day race. So Teddy Pogacar, my guy, absolutely killing it. Incredible season. He probably could have won the Vuelta if he
Did you just
participated.
see that guy on Instagram he's walking the whole world?
What? Forrest
That's what
Gump?
this reminded me of. He's walking. There's like one way you can walk from Asia, and then he swam across the 50 miles to Russia.
Oh, okay.
He went from South America, started up, then went all the way up to, like, he's walking the world. It's been 20 years or something.
I got to look this guy
That's
up.
the
Holy
same
smokes.
category as these bicycle guys. Guys that just have the heart to just travel land.
I love that. Just has got it.
But this guy's doing like a
He's
backpack.
faster. He's doing it faster. These guys, they do it one day.
That is wild.
That's cool.
Slovenian, right?
But could you imagine
Slovenian.
that would be a bike race that I want to watch.
Yeah.
If they have to bike race all the way, somehow they build like a
More
boat.
like adventure racing type stuff.
Like they got to go from all the way South America all the way up to North America, Alaska. And they build like a bridge that it's like you could easily have somewhere in China make this where like it just puts a road so that it would be like a boat, but they have to ride on the boat.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
it's putting the track down while they're going. So they could do the 50 miles to Russia. And then when you get to Russia, you could do all of Asia. And you could hop over to like Northern Africa and get down in there, like Saudi and stuff. And they got to go all the way. Like that is a race you want to watch.
I'm all about that. That's
And, like
one
they gotta
amazing
go
race.
over alligators. They might get eaten or something. Or you a lion in the safari.
Death-defying stuff.
There's got to be like, ain't nobody watching people just ride bikes.
Unless it's lands,
I
baby.
do. I watch it. I don't miss a stage.
I mean, I have actually tried to watch it.
Because we don't need. I'll have like a 45-minute diatribe.
This is on your toast, by
professional
the way.
Cycling is incredible.
How's your toast?
So just shout out Teddy Pogacar. Insane year. Won the Giro. Won the Tour. Won the World Championship. Won the Monument. There's some more races left. Insane year. Killing it. One of the best cyclists ever. And he's like a fun, cool guy that likes to fucking compete. So shout out to Teddy Pogacar.
Shout out,
Teddy.
Hey, dude, don't let me rain on your parade. That's a good shit.
Let's see you do it with some lions chasing you.
Or a hippo. Hippos go like 32 miles an hour. I learn all these crazy facts with my kid.
You
Shout
want
out
to
Lily.
watching Mudang?
Huh?
Mudang. I love Mudang.
What's Mudang?
The hip, like the baby hippo.
Well, what a game. What a game. What a slate of games.
Scott, unreal.
Thanks again to Scott. That's been another episode of Games with Names presented by Jameson Irish Whiskey.
Yes.
Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Comment a game you want us to do. And remember
Rate and review.
to follow Games with Names on YouTube, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Snapchat. Leave a message on the old hotline. That number is 424-291-2290. We'll see you guys next week.
Later.
Games with Names is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.